He's probably a good kid, but
And Jen Jensen.
during the break, you can learn that when we bring up the live mascot, we refer to it as the bird. Jen thinks that means that she can start telling me I'm number one.
Morning, DC. Hope you're doing well. Welcome.
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. Now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't shape up, okay, and get your head straight, there, you just flipped me off again.
107.5 The Game.
Welcome in the Thursday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, Mr. Ed Bird back there producing. A lot to get to this morning. We'll have our usual busy Thursday morning. We'll start with a 7 a.m. visit, bright and early, from head men's soccer coach Tony Annan, who will join us. Gamecocks heading into their stretch run here. 3 matches left, including this coming weekend's match. It'll be a lot of fun here. We'll get you a lot of details and information on that, as they've got some big matches coming up. One of the biggest will be against Kentucky in just a few weeks. Last time I looked, Kentucky was a top 10 team, but Georgia State this coming Friday over in Atlanta, and then they will wrap up next Tuesday against Kentucky here at Stone Stadium. That'll be followed up by the Sun Belt Tournament Conference. So at least one game there, I should say, at least 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. That Sun Belt Conference Tournament will be Sunday, November 6th through the 13th. So at least 3, I should say. Georgia State, again, on Friday, October 28th at 7 o'clock. That's over in Atlanta. And then next Tuesday, the regular season will wrap up against Kentucky over at Stone Stadium. But Tony Annan will join us. Brian Edwards from Vegas Insider, I actually already have his picks. He has sent them in about 6 hours ago. We will get to him at 8:20 this morning for his weekly segment. Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider. And then coming up at about 8:40 this morning, Darlington Raceway president Kerry Tharp will join us. So we've got that to look forward to. A little NFL tonight. Actually, a pretty entertaining game with some interesting implications there, the way the two teams are playing. The Ravens and the Buccaneers. Lamar Jackson versus Tom Brady. I got to admit, there's not many times that I go into a Thursday night a little fired up for an NFL game, but getting to see the Buccaneers, who are currently 3-4 in the NFC South, take on the Ravens, who currently sit at, as I scroll back up, at 4-3 and tied with the Bengals at the top of the AFC North. You got actually a really good matchup, and Tom Brady's still one of the premier players in the NFL, 2 of the premier players in Lamar Jackson for the Ravens and Tom Brady. So there's very few times that I get actually excited to catch an NFL game during the week, whether it's Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football, but this will be one of them. Be a little excited to check that out. We got some college football tonight as we really kind of move into the weekend. An ACC showdown up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Virginia Tech traveling to 24th ranked North Carolina State for a game tonight. You got Louisiana and Southern Miss as well. And then an actually interesting Pac-12 matchup, if you want to stay up for it. Utah at Washington State. Number 14, Utah at Washington State tonight at 10 o'clock on FS1. So lo and behold, we got a little bit of good football tonight. Some nice NFL, a little bit of good college action. So it should get your weekend off to a good start. The World Series gets started tomorrow between the Phillies and the Astros. So we will have plenty of sports to get into this coming weekend. And again, we'll get a lot into what Marcus Satterfield and Clayton White had to say from yesterday. I think Marcus Satterfield was pretty honest, did almost what I would say a self-examination of himself, and talked about the first half of the Texas A&M game. And Mr. Ed Bird is working on some audio in there, and we'll try and get that to you throughout the hour. Again, if you want to be a part of the program this morning, 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in and join us this morning. You can do so on our text line, or you can do so on the Love Chevy phone lines. Our good buddy Jim in Carolina Beach, just making sure we are aware that he is awake and moving around. He sent some very nice sunrise pictures there, and then he's wearing his Clemson sweatshirt, so he's ready for the Tiger bye week. We'll get you ready for the Gamecock matchup against Missouri coming up 4 o'clock on Saturday. We'll give you a pair of tickets, the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway coming up. We'll do that in about the 8 o'clock hour and give some people who hang around a little bit longer a chance to win some tickets to see South Carolina and Missouri on Saturday at 4 o'clock. And as always, you can join us on our live stream. DC, Waddy, Anthony already up and on there, ready to talk some sports or whatever else pops up. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of our little community. We've continued to grow that. Very proud of that as we live stream each and every morning. If you want to get up and just weigh in on the conversation, Robin jumping in, giving us the update on what workout she'll be doing today. We're up over 1,100 subscribers, making the move toward 1,200. So we always appreciate everybody weighing in and joining us on our live stream feed. Again, you can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the program. So a lot to get to again this morning. Some NFL, some college, Marcus Satterfield and Clayton White and Pete Limbo, for that matter, all speaking with the media yesterday and giving their takes on the offense, the defense, and the special teams. Everybody was very excited about Pete Limbo's breakdown and analysis of the touchdown return by Xavier Leggett, where he was able to reference the German Panzer tank division, as well as throw in a Major League Baseball movie, the Major League reference in about the same two sentences, and everybody got very excited about that. So it was an entertaining day for Gamecock coordinators. We'll let you listen to a little bit of them this morning. Again, we will discuss plenty of South Carolina and Missouri now as we keep the countdown going. The Gamecocks and the Tigers this weekend. South Carolina still about a 3.5, depending on what spread, what sports book you like to use or where you look. South Carolina still about a 3.5 to 4.5 point favorite. Again, that's just depending on which sports book you want to pick and choose. It's down from what I saw as Circa Sportsbook opening the week at 5. So we continue to monitor that as we've moved closer. And I've started to really look at Missouri a little bit more. I do think it's going to be a closer game than maybe some would expect when you look at what the Tigers have done throughout the season. I think that they're going to come in here ready to go. And I think their defense, the Missouri defense versus the South Carolina offense, decides this game. And we'll talk a lot about that this hour. That's certainly going to be the way I see South Carolina winning. They're going to have to score some points. I think the South Carolina defense will do a good job of limiting Missouri, but South Carolina's going to need to get into the mid-20s, maybe the high 20s, 24, 28 there to be able to score, to be able to win this ball game and become bowl eligible for the first time since the bowl eligible in October for the first time since 2013. 803-404-6100. If you want to weigh in this morning, let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry has waited patiently already all 10 minutes, so he's done a good job. Gamecock Larry, how you doing this morning?
I'm feeling a whole lot better than I did yesterday, but I thought I was getting through the week without any of these midnight messages and all that. But Lord and behold, last night, Missouri Mo the Tiger, something left me a message. Mo the Tiger from Missouri, not the Tigers from the ACC. Just want to let you know we coming to Columbia, South Carolina to pick some feathers and head back up the road with the Mayor's Cup again. Well, I don't know who that is, but I got a pretty good idea. But I ain't going to say nothing because I just don't. I want to make sure I'm right before I try to say anything about the score and all that. But let me tell you something. Mo the Tiger from Missouri, not Clemson. Yeah, you can come on down. We're waiting on you. I done forgot what I was going to say again. Lord, Bill, forgive me. I don't know. But anyway, come on down. We're ready. We ain't going to talk too much today, but we'll let you know tomorrow what we're going to do. But I just want to say, Gamecock Nation, keep the cool. We don't want to get too high up. We're going to be okay. And I'm looking to go. I'm think we're going to go 8-2 till Tennessee. And then Tennessee, you can come on down, and we have that thing out there at Williams-Brice Stadium like we had this past Saturday night. Lord, Heupel, that grin and that attitude you got going to be wiped away. But that's way down the road. But come on down, Mo the I don't forget what he Mo the Tiger. Come on down. We're waiting on you, and I'll let you know tomorrow what we're going to do to you. Gamecock Nation, love all y'all. Love you, Bill, Ed. Oh, go Gamecocks.
There you go. Gamecock Larry with another nemesis already here on a Thursday. 803-404-6100. Again, that's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part of the program via the text line or the Love Chevy phone lines. And again, you can join us on our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the community. Larry, Anthony, Robin, Waddy, DC, all in there this morning and ready to discuss. Anthony having a glorious morning. He says he's eating some bacon right now. That's the right way to start your Thursday morning, a Thursday that'll feature some pretty good football games, a chance to tune in, whether you want to watch college tonight, maybe catch a little Virginia Tech and North Carolina State, or whether you want to go the pro route tonight, catch the Ravens and the Buccaneers on Amazon Prime. You've got a couple really good options. We'll talk about that a little bit, look at the weekend schedule that will be, and talk about that Missouri the Missouri defense trying to stopping the South Carolina offense, and let you listen to a little bit of Marcus Satterfield this morning. Again, there is my key to the game. Can South Carolina run the ball effectively, and do they dedicate themselves to the run? I think this is a game where Marshawn Lloyd could really up his stock, so to speak. If you can come out, people know you're going to run the football. They know what you're trying to do, and Marshawn Lloyd can still have a monster day on Saturday and get close to 100 yards. Again, I think that would continue to up his stock. Who knows? I hadn't seen him on a top 100 NFL draft list just yet, but certainly the year he's having, he continues to show why he was such a highly rated prospect. Again, 803-404-6100. If you want to be a part of the program this morning, you're listening to Bill Gunner. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples is your one-stop destination for shipping supplies and services, and right now get 50% off shipping boxes, mailers, or tubes when you buy 5 of the same item. Offer ends 12/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staplesconnect.com/shipping for details. Staples, the best kept secret in shipping.
So far this morning, just one accident to pass along 26 westbound at exit 119. That's at St. Matthews.
If you've been wanting to get out and enjoy the fall, weather's great right now. I've sat on the back porch the last couple of days. I've been going to Austin's soccer practices, Ansley's cheer events. I've been moving around because, again, the weather feels great. You're not out in 90-degree heat with 95% humidity. It feels absolutely great. But if you've been suffering from arthritis, if you've had some issues lately with joint pain, don't let it keep you from doing what you love. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. It's an all-natural treatment that can get you lasting relief. People have been raving about the results, and right now you can learn all about these exciting new cutting-edge treatments for pain caused by arthritis or injury. And it requires no drugs, no pain medications, and absolutely no downtime. And that includes no surgery. Call today. Get that free appointment. Free consultation. And appointments are available this coming week. 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Call QC Kinetics today for that free consultation.
Here's what's coming up on the next Extra Point.
Leggett, big, strong dude, was able to just kind of run through some tackles there on the edge. And then I thought he had a weird sort of running style to him, and I didn't realize at the time he was doing that with one shoe. So not only had one shoe, but threw up the peace sign on the way by. That was special, and it set the tone for the whole night.
And Shane Beamer said that it was not blocked well, which I'll take his word for it. He knows what should be done there.
Well, maybe they should try not blocking kickoffs well
Yeah, if
Next
that's not
time, too.
blocking, then
That's what it took.
yeah. How about Bam getting the block there, and then he actually had to put away hit on the QB at the end of the game, at the final Hail Mary. So Bam is the closer.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.
All right. Yeah, I was just looking at our subscriber numbers. 1,160. We're moving right along. We've had a couple monster days on the old YouTube here. Couple very solid days here. So we're getting up there. We're getting up there. Yep, you're correct, Larry. Missouri's front four against the run is very good. Morning, Craig. Glad everybody's doing good. Yep, Anthony right now is off to the best morning.
One pill, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Trilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Trilosec OTC. Use directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief. Be better protected this football season with an updated COVID-19 booster shot designed for recent Omicron variants. If it's been at least 2 months since your primary series,
let me see here.
updated COVID-19 booster dose at vaccines.gov. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. This football season, in every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That actually would be a great little deal there.
Bad time to bring up the false start.
Schroeder's Towing always has your back, every day and every game day. When the final whistle blows, we're ready to tow. The fastest response comes from the most trusted and reliable name in towing. Schroeder's Towing, the best hookers in town. One search engine is used by 9 out of 10 consumers. Hint, the name begins with a G. And there are hundreds of things that go into being ranked highly by that niche. Your website, your business, your social accounts, a couple of slip-ups, and you find yourself on page 7. But at Cumulus Boost, we have the experts and resources to fix what's wrong and boost your findability, so you can rank higher.
Too many tabs open on my computer.
CUMULUSboost.com.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm, located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. First step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. The first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years, or facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800.
Yeah, I was honestly trying to go back and.
Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me, John Ecton. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter and Shannon Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game, 1075 The Game.
6:21 on your Thursday morning. Bill Gunner, Ed Bird, as we get you up, get you out the door, and get you going. Get you ready for South Carolina and Missouri. Saturday, 4 o'clock, Williams-Brice Stadium. Again, coming up at about 8:10 this morning. will give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to that particular football game. It's the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. So make sure you stay tuned in for that at about 8:10, 8:12, somewhere in that vicinity. We will give you those tickets and give you an opportunity to win and head to the game. I mentioned in the last segment, I look at this game, and to me, South Carolina's offense. This is the one I got because Missouri's not particularly great offensively. South Carolina should be able to keep Missouri in check defensively. South Carolina's defense playing a lot better. The front four, I think, is really coming on. The Gamecocks are healthy defensively. I know that Missouri has some nice offensive pieces. Luther Burden is coming along, former five-star wide receiver. Dominic Lovett is a really nice receiver for the Tigers. He actually leads the team with 511 receiving yards and 35 total receptions. Mookie Cooper is a guy that can burn you if you're not careful. He's come along, averaging about 3 receptions a game over the last 5. He's a guy that you have to watch. So with all that being said, they have some nice pieces, but this to me is the game. And not that it stands out where if it's a great game, we all go, okay, Marcus Satterfield has figured it out. Kudos to him. But this is the game where South Carolina's offense, and they're not going to have to do a ton. You don't have to go out and score 40 points. But you've got to be competent, and you've got to move the football. Missouri's got a good defense. That's how Missouri wins this game. If you want to point to a particular area, that's how Missouri wins this football game, is if South Carolina completely messes up offensively, never gets into rhythm, has a few turnovers, Spencer Rattler throws a few interceptions, and something goes completely sideways on the Gamecocks. The over-under is set at about 46 and a half to 47 is where I'm seeing it here, mostly right around the 46 level at most books. So you're projecting right now, when you do that, you're projecting right around a 25-21 game. South Carolina would win a 4-point spread, 46 the over-under. You get the point, 25, 21, 46. Great math here on the early game at 624. But the point being is South Carolina's defense should contain Missouri's offense, by and large. What does South Carolina do offensively? You know, the Kentucky game was a great win. It was really nice. But that first half, the touchdown was spurred on by an early fumble caused by David Spalding that led to an easy Marshawn Lloyd touchdown run, and then you got nothing after that. You had a few turnovers that should have, or you had a missed pass by Spencer Rattler to Juju McDowell that should have been a first down, maybe would have led to at least a field goal. You had the Spencer Rattler fumble after a blocked punt, but South Carolina's offense didn't drive the length of the field. Saturday night against Texas A&M, again, you get the kick return for a touchdown. You get the interception return that leads to a field goal. You get the fumble that was returned, and you end up getting that for a touchdown, and it's 17-0. This is a game that South Carolina's offense has to jump on Missouri early. Missouri's really not built to be coming back on people. This isn't a team that's built to come back on people. But keep in mind, Missouri's defense isn't a pushover. Nationally, in terms of total defense, Missouri checks in at number 22 nationally. This is what we're talking about. It's not a bad defense. Matter of fact, it's better than Texas A&M's, which is a top 50 defense and did a good job. A&M last week, or after last week, is the number 45 defense in the country. So Missouri, a little bit higher there. They're number 22. They give up just an average of 325 points per game on the season. They've given up just 15 touchdowns, and they give up an average of 5 yards per play there, according to the NCAA.com stats website. So they're a strong team. They're going to be able to slow down South Carolina. I mentioned this yesterday. When you look statistically at the Tigers, that they are 4th in the SEC in yards allowed per game, and they're 5th in run defense, giving up 126 yards per game. So I here am saying, come out and run the football. And people may say, well, that's a moronic idea. Why would you even suggest that, knowing that they are pretty good against the run? Well, it's pretty simple. I don't think you can hand the game right now to Spencer Rattler. There is nothing I've seen through 7 games. I think Spencer Rattler could be a very good quarterback, but I think you have to set him up for success on Saturday night. by running the football first and then working into the play action or working into your quick screen game on the perimeter and getting it out to Juice Wells and letting him see if he can make some guys miss. I now kind of have transitioned. I didn't mind handing the ball to Jaheim Bell initially on handoffs. What I'd actually like to see is them get quick hitters out to him on the perimeter, and with his size, put him in one-on-one situations and allow him to power through maybe a tackler if you get some good blocking on the perimeter. But I think it all starts with going to who is your top playmaker in this offense right now, and that's Marshawn Lloyd. Just because Missouri is good at stopping the run doesn't mean that South Carolina should be sitting over there this week going, oh, well, we can't run the football. We got to throw it 35 times. There is no universe where South Carolina throws this football more than 30 times and wins this game. Spencer Rattler right now is just not built for that. And the offensive line, we've seen it. I think they're playing better, but they're going to make a mistake or two and turn a rusher free on Spencer Rattler. And right now, when people have been able to get a free shot at him, unfortunately, you've seen it the last two games. What's happened? There's been a fumble. Run the ball early and establish it, even if it's not working, because then I think you do a better job of setting up play action pass, being able to get Stogner, being able to get Nate Adkins kind of over the middle behind those linebackers. To me, this game comes down to South Carolina knowing who they are. Know who you are. Come out and run the football early on. And I'm not, you can be sitting there at the end of the first quarter. South Carolina's got, say, 11 rushes for 12 yards and go, that gunner's a moron. Well, I still think at that point, you're establishing your offensive identity. You're establishing who you are and what you like to do. You're drawing up one of their better linebackers like Tyrone Hopper, and you're being able to put yourself in position where a play action can work, whether you want to go deep to one of your receivers or whether you just want to flip it over the middle and be able to hit a guy for a 10 or 15-yard pass and catch. And that, to me, is what I'd love to see on Saturday, is coming out early, knowing where your bread and butter is. That's your man, Marshawn Lloyd, and going from there by being able to run the football. And again, it doesn't. I think too often we think that running plays should always go for 4 and 5 yards. And if they're not going for 4, 5, 6 yards on every carry, it's not being successful. I don't think that that's what you have to think about. I think this is a game where, again, establishing an identity early, that we're being physical, that we're going to wear you down, that's absolutely imperative in this game. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Gene saying you have to put the ball in Lloyd's hands to win this game. I'm in total agreement. Jim in Carolina Beach saying, what is Clemson's defense ranked? I'll get to that in a little while. I wasn't talking about Clemson, Jim, but thank you for making sure that they stay a part of the program. Scott saying third down conversions, play calling in this game. Remember, South Carolina was 8 of 16 on third down conversions against Texas A&M in the previous game. Marty checking in this morning. He says we should do a live remote for the rivalry week, make it a huge tailgate party over at LJ's. I can get on board with that. Let's make that happen. I'm all about getting out on rivalry week. And Jonathan this morning, he's taking a shot at me. He thinks I'm Missouri Mo calling in. Trust me. I do not get up at whatever 3:30 a.m. or whatever time these phone calls are going to Gamecock Larry. So no, I can promise you that's not me. I'm sound asleep. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in on that. Again, that's my opinion on the offensive game plan. We'll talk a little bit about college football as a whole when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. It is officially Halloween weekend, and I know some of you out there have some big Halloween parties you're planning. But the key here is you want the house, the decorations to be spooky, not the carpet, the rugs, the tile, the upholstery. You don't want people coming in thinking that you decorated that with dirt and grime to try and scare them. You want the carpet, the rugs, the upholstery, all to look insanely clean. You want the eyes to be focused on the decorations, not on the dirty, dingy carpets. Call Zero Res today and take advantage of their fall sale going on right now. Get Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game. You can schedule with ease online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, take advantage of their patented ZR water technology. They've been out to my house. They do an absolutely fantastic job. Made the house look absolutely fantastic until about 10 minutes later, Austin spilled some ice cream on the floor, and it really just took away from everything that happened. But for all that 10 minutes, it was absolutely gorgeous. Looked fantastic. Looked like a brand new home. So call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020. Take advantage of the fall sale. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. You just need to mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game. You can easily schedule your cleaning online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Again, get in touch with Zero. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Oh.
Drive the Ram, Charger, or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodge waiting on Greystone, JT'sDodge.com. Re-empowered it. Well, friends, the millions best kept secret is no longer a secret. The secret's out there. Charwood Golf Club is the middle. You must play golf course anywhere. You will tour golf. No drama. You're doing this. Not on Charwood Golf Course.
All right. And we're off. I saw that. Yeah, I just pulled that up. I'll read that, Craig. I did just pull that up. I will read that stat there. Yeah. So.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far.
Try and keep an eye out for Coach Annan here.
All you need in the morning is 2 simple, like the breakfast crunch wrap. Chunky eggs, cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns. That's in one tortilla. Or as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today. Only at Taco Bell. After participating in the Taco Bell during breakfast hours, also sign up. Contact the store for hours and information.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
Stylish office decor to turn my finished basement into a complete workspace solution.
Staples has you covered.
It's all business, but not too businessy.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now at Staples, save 25% on all desks, storage and filing products, chair mats, lighting, decor, and desk accessories. When you buy a chair, explore solutions for your remote workspace at Staples. The Working and Learning Store ends 10/29. In-store only, exclusions apply.
If you're thinking about retirement soon, be sure to tune in to Save Your Retirement with Pat Scurley, a preservation specialist. Join Pat as he talks about the latest trends and headlines that could impact your retirement. Don't go into retirement unprepared. Listen each Sunday morning at 10 to Save Your Retirement with Pat Scurley, a preservation specialist. Offers insurance services, investment advisory services, offered through Talos Capital Incorporated.
What we're talking about on 1075 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
.636 on a Thursday morning. Bill Gunner, Ed Bird producing this morning. We'll get you some audio coming up later in the program of Marcus Satterfield, a little bit of Clayton White as well. But certainly the main thing that we're talking about this morning is that offense. Again, my belief is that the South Carolina defense will hold up just fine against the Missouri offense, and they will probably. I would estimate right now, if you gave me an over/under of 1.5 turnovers for the game, if we played that game, South Carolina's defense forcing 1.5 turnovers, I'd take the over. I think they'll force 2 on Saturday. Hopefully, one will be setting up an easy score for South Carolina to put the ball inside the red zone. But I think the defense is playing better. Clayton White, I'm starting to think, feels more comfortable with his personnel. I think you're seeing Jordan Birch come on. Zach Pickens, statistically, maybe not playing as well as people would want. But if you just watch him, the disruption he's causing, what he has been doing certainly stands out. And Tonka Hemingway has really, in about the last 2 games, he's done some nice things prior to Kentucky and A&M, but he's really come on and made some big plays for the Gamecocks over the previous 2 games. I like South Carolina's defensive matchup against the offense of Missouri. South Carolina's secondary is as healthy as it's been. Eamon Warry and DQ Smith are developing. I don't know if you'd still call them freshmen in Game 8 with the amount of snaps they've played. They've been around the block. Devontae Reed, I think, has been an excellent graduate transfer portal addition and has added a little bit of depth back there. We know about David Spalding, Cam Smith, Darius Rush playing really good. So you like the South Carolina defense. I really do like what they're going to do, and I think they will give South Carolina every opportunity on Saturday afternoon. So it comes back to the offense. What can you do? And I'll go back to Scott's text message because he wants me to read the whole thing. He says, third downs conversions game on the play calling, execution, and success, in my opinion, is the key to this game. You've got to stay on the field and score. Yeah, exactly. It's what I was saying. 8 of 16 in the last game, the Gamecocks were. Colin Taylor put out a tweet yesterday, and let me just read this here. He says, this is Colin Taylor of Gamecock Central. He says, combing through some offensive third down notes today. Over the last 2 games, Spencer Rattler is 11 for 18 on third downs and is averaging 9.8 yards per attempt. 6 of his 11 completions have gone for at least 18 yards. I do think Spencer Rattler is playing better. And Ron from Lake Marion weighs in and says, Rattler's got to have a breakout game, doesn't he? He's got the talent, so win. I just, to me, and if you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100, I just don't think South Carolina is designed to go out. When we say a breakout game, if I was to draw up the numbers for Spencer Rattler to have a good game, it would be in the vicinity of 18, 19 of 25, about 230 or 220, 230 yards and a touchdown and no interceptions. That to me is the perfect game, because then I think you're setting him up for success doing that. And I think what you're then doing is you're utilizing your run game. You're utilizing Marshawn Lloyd. You're throwing in a little bit of Juju McDowell. Maybe you're utilizing Jaheim Bell 1 or 2 times in the running situation. Spencer Rattler's running. I just don't think when we say, all right, is Spencer Rattler going to have a breakout game? I don't think a breakout game should be 28 of 35 for 350 yards. I think that this is a ball game. I think that South Carolina's offense in general is run first, play action pass, Spencer Rattler getting the ball to the perimeter and then taking his shots downfield. That's just through 7 games what I have seen and what I believe to be the best options. RJ weighs in this morning and says, if you watched Missouri many times this year, they have very fast personnel, can bust it for 50 yards at any time. Offensively, they're okay. They're not statistically speaking, again, to go back to their offense, RJ, I mean, you look at it offensively, Missouri's okay. They don't have the great running game. They don't have the great running game that they've had in the past. No Tyler Beatty, as they are typically accustomed to having. They seem to always have had some of those pretty good running backs in the past, but I said it, Luther Burden, Mookie Cooper, they've got guys who can make a play or two, but Brady Cook has struggled this year in the passing game. He's not exactly been the best passer right now. Missouri is 13th in the league in passing. They average just 208 yards per game. Yes, I've seen it. They've also given up 16 sacks on the season. Maybe South Carolina can get to the quarterback a little bit. But I think this more comes back to South Carolina's offense being able to move the football. You go out and you have that inconsistent performance. Marshawn Lloyd touches it 4 times in the first half. Spencer Rattler's thrown it 15 or 16 times in the first half. It's a grab bag of plays, and Missouri's gaining confidence. This should be a confident Tiger team, even with their current record. They've played everybody close, and Missouri, in my personal opinion, I've never heard him say this, but I think we've seen it from his actions and his comments. I don't think Eli Drinkowitz has any respect for South Carolina. He's come in and he's beaten them with Appalachian State. He's beaten them with Missouri here in 2020, and obviously beat them last year on the road. And for whatever reason, listening to his comments at times, it feels like Drinkowitz has a disdain almost for South Carolina and enjoys beating the Gamecocks more than any other team. But I don't think that Missouri's coming in here looking at South Carolina like, oh, that's a 5-2 team we can't play with. I've got a feeling the message out there is, hey, we've gone head straight up against Georgia. They had Georgia. If you watch that game, Georgia managed to rally. Stetson Bennett made some plays there at the very end of the game, and Georgia wins 26-22. They went into Gainesville and kept up with the Gators and lost 24-17. Obviously, they should have beaten Auburn, and last week, of course, just a 3-point win against Vanderbilt. But I don't think Missouri's coming in here with a lack of confidence. I think they're coming in here believing that they can take this game and advance to 4-4 on the season and keep bowl eligibility in their sights. They still have Kentucky, Tennessee, New Mexico State, and Arkansas. Kentucky and Tennessee might not be winnable for them, but New Mexico State and Arkansas certainly are games both in Columbia, Missouri. So for Missouri, you're getting a team with its back against the wall that's going to come out hungry, that knows they have to have this game to get bowl eligible. And it's just no way that they lose this thing and they're able to go 3-1 of those final 4. But they know. So you're getting a team with its back against the wall, and I think they'll be led by that defense that they have. Trajan Jeffcoat, the former Irmo standout. We've talked a lot about guys who end up getting out of Columbia that South Carolina didn't offer. Jeffcoat is another player who's gone to Missouri and done some really nice things out there on their defensive line. Can get after the quarterback a little bit. 803-404-6100. Again, that's how you can weigh in this morning if you want to be a part of the program. Will weighs in and says, you have landed on one of my main concerns with this team. They have no identity. You have no idea what they are. It's like the OC calls plays with a list drawn from a hat of plays he's seen on the TV in the past. And we'll find out. There's got to be some consistency. And again, I think you've got to come out and establish the identity, which is being physical and run the ball early. We'll continue talking about that. Tony Annan set to join us here in about 15 minutes. His team has a big match over in Atlanta against Georgia State on Friday night, and then that'll be followed by a monster match on Tuesday next week against Kentucky here at Stone Stadium. So we'll catch up with him in the 7 o'clock hour. 8:20, Brian Edwards will join us from Vegas Insider, and at 8:40, it's Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
High school coverage on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
So far this morning, just one accident to pass along 26 westbound at exit 119. That's at St. Matthews.
This report is sponsored by FN America Careers.
Are you ready to join a high-caliber team? FN America is always looking for the best talent to design and build the most innovative firearms. We make world-class products to defend our nation in a friendly, rewarding, and engaging workplace. Explore your next career at fnamerica.com/careers.
Hey, guys, it's me, wrestling legend Ric Flair, and I'm on a mission to help millions of guys put more flair down there with Mount Everest. Unlike generic ED treatment programs that can take up to 60 minutes to work, Mount Everest can have you standing at attention in as little as 5 minutes. You'll have an absolutely mind-blowing experience every time. That's because only Mount Everest offers a unique 3-in-1 custom compounded medication. Mount Everest will make you a kiss-stealing, wheeling-dealing son of a gun like me every night. Don't lose another night to ED. Put some flair down there with Mount Everest. Woo!
See if Mount Everest is right for you. Go to join.nu.
I was driving yesterday to go get Austin from school, and that was the first time I've heard that commercial. And here, I'm talking to y'all, or I'm walking around doing something, And I've never like listened to the commercial. I just catch pieces here or there. Yesterday was the first time I've actually heard that commercial, and that is something. That is something, buddy. That is I was coming down the road and all of a sudden that came on. I was like, I've never heard it. I've heard people talk about it.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Oh boy.
It's powerful technology actively finds
I think it's possible.
to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you a needle
Yeah.
in a haystack.
It's rowdy is a great way to describe it.
Post a job on ZipRecruiter, get a quality candidate.
It's rowdy is a great way to describe it. That's something, buddy. That is I just died laughing. Yeah, I mean I agree. No, that would be you gotta remember he had a 300 what he threw for 375 against Arkansas, I think. I think he threw for 375.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help.
Keep an eye out for Coach Annan here.
Hi, I'm local attorney John Exton, the Exton Law
Oh, I
Firm.
know. I was looking to see
Stay on top of the law, the IRS rules and regulations. It's important to us to get you back on track and in compliance legally without worry for your future. At the Exton Law Firm, we've handled hundreds of cases for everyday hardworking people like you right here in the Carolinas. Don't face the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. First visit is completely free and confidential. You meet with a licensed attorney in person at our office in Irmo, just off I-26. If you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Exton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to ExtonLawFirm.com. Carolinas, if you have an IRS issue, you need a local attorney. You need me, John Exton.
Broadcasting live from the Heritage Chevrolet Studios.
All I heard was a noise. Finish up this segment. Let's see what we got. A few minutes. Get yourself comfy. All black back today, huh? That's right.
Of the game. We're here to knock you down. We're going to be physical. And instead of running the football from the 5 3 times and just telling your guys, hey, get greased up, get physical. We're going to take you down. South Carolina tries 3 passes. And it just, to me, it's that mindset early on. And that's why I continue to beat the drum. Todd weighs in and says Carolina needs to start fast and feed Lloyd the ball, play great defense, and the crowd has to be in it from the beginning to the end. South Carolina 31, Missouri 13. But that's to my point, is you come out and you just establish your identity offensively. Jay weighs in and says, is Beamer ball not an identity? It's an identity for the team. And I think there's a lot of identities that are becoming for this team. Head coach Tony Annan, who's in studio with us, and will be joining us in the next hour, he's talked about the culture that he's seen Shane Beamer develop within that locker room and within that program. And that is an identity, but what you're looking for is the identity offensively. And South Carolina has been at their best in the 20 games that Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield have been running the offense, when they come out and they say, we're going to run the football on you. I go back, that Missouri game last year, the Auburn game last year is the perfect example of coming out early and establishing the run. I know Missouri, I keep saying Missouri. I know Auburn had the bad play there with Tank Bigsby where he wasn't on the field for the 4th and 1, and that opened the door for South Carolina last year. But South Carolina wore Auburn down in that game. Zaquandre White had a couple big plays late in the game, but I felt it was because South Carolina came out early on and went to whatever their identity was, which was running the football. Zaquandre White that night ended up with 99 yards rushing. They kind of set the tone early that night against Auburn last year in that big victory. Jason Brown only threw 15 passes. Zaquandre White ran it 16 times. And that's what I mean, is you come out early on and you give the ball to your running backs. You tell your offensive line from the get-go, we're going to line up and we're going to smash them in the face, and we're going to let them know we're here tonight. We are here and ready to go. 803-404-6100. Tony Annan joining us here in studio. We'll talk a lot about his club, his team. They are head to Atlanta tomorrow. But let me ask you, Coach, and make sure you're there. You go. Make sure that mic's on. For your guys, you hear what I'm saying about establishing your identity within the first 5-8 minutes of any ball game. You've been around a lot of sports, not just soccer, but is that a belief that you have, is that you tell your guys, hey, who we are needs to be established from the get-go? And I don't know in soccer if that's, I'll ask you later how you do that, how you establish that early on. But for a coach and seeing your ball club that you train all year around, that is a belief that you have to have, right? That, hey, here's what we are, and we're going to do it right from the get-go and let the other team know this is what we're doing.
Absolutely. I think it's probably a connection of all the sports. When you start the game, it has to be, you have to lay down a marker, as they say. It's the cliches of, right, let them know you're there, lay down your marker, set your stall out, all these cliches that you use as a coach. It's to get your team on the front foot, because if you start on the back foot, or you start slowly, or you start without any energy, it could be a long day. So it's really important that first 15, 20 minutes of a soccer game, or first 5-10 minutes of a football game, basketball game, is that you impose your will upon the opposition, especially if you're at home. It's not always easy when you're away from home, but when you're at home, there's an old saying, let them know you're there, right? And it's like, put yourself forward and do not let them have any space. Do not let them have any comfort on the ball. Let them know they're in for a bad afternoon. There's the other one is win your individual battle. Because if everybody wins their individual battle, then the team will win its battle. So there's tons of different sayings and cliches that people use. But yeah, absolutely agree, 100%. First 15, 20 minutes usually tells you what the game's going to be like.
And like you said, at home, when you have, whether it's a home match or a home game, you've got the crowd behind you. And usually if you can go out and establish, and that's why I continue to say with as in terms of Saturday afternoon, having watched South Carolina now, really watched South Carolina for 20 years with Lou Holtz, with Steve Spurrier, even with Will Muschamp, now obviously with Shane Beamer. Lou Holtz and Steve Spurrier, I thought, did it best. They would come out early on and establish who they are. With Spurrier was, hey, we've got Marcus Lattimore back here. You're going to get a dose of him early. Good luck trying to tackle him because, and again, we'll get to your club coming up in the next hour because I'm kind of interested to hear what you say to your guys. But real quick, before we got about 45 seconds, is there something that you say to college kids? It's different saying to the younger kids, right?
Just use different language.
Okay.
You're just saying it a different way to an older player, more mature player. But the other part of it is you've got to prepare for the end, not just the beginning.
Right.
Because the end is where it's won and lost, right? As you've seen the other night, it could have went either way then. But
exactly,
it's you don't prepare for the beginning, you prepare for the end.
Well, we'll talk more about that this morning. Coach Annan in with us for an hour, and his club heads to Atlanta. They'll take on Georgia State tomorrow night, and then a big one with Kentucky, and then it's the Sun Belt Conference. We'll go over what he's seen. They had a draw against James Madison on Sunday over at Stone Stadium. We'll get his thoughts on that and more. You're listening to Tony Annan, Bill Gunner, and he's producer Ed Bird. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
teams. They don't want to play easy games. They want to play tough teams. They want to be challenged. And it's the only way to develop players as well is to play them against the best that you can. And I think our schedule will continue to get harder as we go and get better. But yeah, we've had a very young team. We've had 7 freshmen on the field pretty much every game. And if you look at the statistics, or if you look at just the video of the game, we're in every game. We pretty much control every game except Marshall. We didn't control that game. But even against Clemson, you forgot that one too. They're up there. They're in the. I think they've just dropped out the top 25, but a lot of people say we should have beat them, and it was a moral victory because of how we played against them. But moral victories don't get you points, right? So we've got to keep pushing along.
Yeah, it is. Again, I don't pay attention much outside of what's going on here in Columbia, but Wake Forest at one time was number 1 in the country, and they had beaten Clemson pretty soundly. They've dropped out. They are, I guess, technically number 28 on this, what I would be counting as once you get into the others receiving votes. How does soccer scheduling work? Because like we watch football scheduling, and it's there's games in 2035, 2036 that I'm already having to prep for. Basketball scheduling typically kind of occurs over the summer. How do you schedule? Will it be in the off season? You'll kind of analyze your roster. You'll see exactly what you got, and then you contact or you work with other coaches, or do you have stuff scheduled out? Like, well, you do something with Ohio State and Dayton. I know that was, I think, kind of a weekend tournament. But how does that work with you guys?
We're done for 23. We're looking for 1 game left. That's it.
So you schedule a year. You're a year out.
I schedule a year out. I mean, not everybody does, but I feel like if you've got it a year out, at least you know where you're going, right, what you're going to do. But yeah, we're done for 23. Added a couple of teams and removed a couple of teams. But again, it's just calling people up and saying, hey, do you want to play? Do you want to go home and away? Do you want to guarantee? Everything else. So it's just, we try and get ahead of it and do it a year out.
Okay, I know you'll save that for the proper time, but I know
Absolutely.
you're that should be exciting because again, you should as things progress. You still got a season to get through. Let's go back to Sunday afternoon, 1-1 draw against James Madison. Probably not the result you wanted because, as you just mentioned, you get the points, and if you'd gotten the 3 points, I think it would have, if I understand correctly, if I'm doing math correctly, it would have locked you into the tournament. You got the 1 point for the draw, but go back and kind of analyze on what you saw from that match.
Much like every other game we've played this season, where we came out, I mean, we go off like a firework. The first 20 minutes, we're dominant. We create 4 clear chances to score. We score 1 of 4 chances. And then as games go, you have to weather the storm, right? They get their tails up and they start coming back at you. So if you look at the statistics again, it was a very even match for possession. It was a very even match for completed passes. We outshot them. We created more chances, and we got a man sent off 5 minutes to go, which didn't help matters. We went kind of panic mode and survival mode. He got 2 yellow cards, so he's going to miss the Georgia State game. But again, even game, played very well. Probably played some of the best stuff we've played in a while, and didn't get the result. Which for me, it's points dropped. Right, we should have. I felt took 3 points from that.
So you come back now, you get Georgia State tomorrow night, and we're just going to kind of update the health of the team here. As we said, you just mentioned, who was that? Who you said who had the yellow card?
Junior St-Just.
Yep,
He's out.
yep.
So
Which if you're not familiar with Austin, my son played in camp this summer. You had Junior was out there running the camp. Maybe we should mention that if people want to start thinking ahead to next year's camp. If you've already booked your schedule, I'm guessing you've already thought ahead to the little Tony Annan soccer camp next
year.
year.
Scheduled already.
Okay, so, but yeah, we can talk about that. But Junior was out there last year, and a lot of the kids from Lexington Soccer Academy loved him. He was a big hit with them. So I hate to hear that with him. But how is the health of your team now as you go toward the final 2 matches?
A few knocks here, a few banged up players at this point of the season, but nothing major. Obviously, we lost Laritz for the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 games ago, he fractured his ankle and he's in a boot and he's getting surgery today, actually. So he's out maybe all spring as well. I know he's 3 months off weight bearing, so he's out, which is a big loss. But everybody else is just dealing with, the tight quad and the tight hamstring, and there's a rolled ankle that's being played on, but it's not too bad. So again, college soccer knocks. I mean, that's just the way it is, but no one major except Laritz.
803-404-6100 if you want to send in a question or you just want to comment, as Anthony does on our live stream. You can go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. He says, Coach sounds like he's in the English Mafia. And then also the comments you made earlier, I think people liked, and we'll get back into that, prepping your team early on. Brian weighed in and said, let them know they're in for a bad afternoon. He said, love that comment. So that's what we'll do. We'll talk about that because you mentioned your guys have come out strong in the first 20 minutes, and I'll get your opinion on if that's a youthful thing where you come out strong but you're not able to maintain the energy, or if that's something that you can train and work with throughout the week, getting your guys ready. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can be a part of the program. You're listening to Tony Annan, Bill Gunner. It's the early game on 1075.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
Leggett, big, strong dude, was able to just kind of run through some tackles there on the edge. And then I thought he had a weird sort of running style to him, and I didn't realize at the time he was doing that with one shoe. So not only had one shoe, but threw up the peace sign on the way by. That was special, and it set the tone for the whole night.
And Shane Beamer said that it was not blocked well, which I'll take his word for it. He knows what should be done there.
Well, maybe they should try not blocking kickoffs well.
Yeah, if that's not blocking, then
that's what it took.
Yeah, how about Bam getting the block there, and then he actually had to put away hit on the QB at the end of the game at the final Hail Mary. So Bam is the closer.
The Extra Point
With Pearson, Preston, and Gamecock Central.
9 a.m. to noon
On your home of the Gamecocks.
1075 The Game.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Amazon Prime Video. The new era of Thursday Night Football is only on Prime Video. In this week's People 5, Denver tumbles to number 28. Losing to the Jets is no longer a national disgrace, but the Broncos let a critical victory slip away. Ditto number 29, Pittsburgh. Next come courageous Carolina, defying Detroit, and of course, the cellar dweller, Houston. I'm Boomer Science.
The new era of Thursday Night Football is only on Prime Video. Tonight, it's a matchup between MVP quarterbacks when Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens travel to Tampa Bay to take on Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, delivered by Little Caesars. Not an Amazon Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. It's the Ravens and the Buccaneers, only on Prime Video. See Amazon.com/watchtnf for details.
Buying a home? Rocket Mortgage will cover 1% of your rate for the first year at no cost to you with Inflation Buster. That's more road trips, more front row seats. Plus, if rates drop within 3 years of your home purchase, you'll get exclusive savings when you refinance at that new lower rate. Save when you buy today and refinance tomorrow. Call 833-7-ROCKET today or visit inflationbuster.com to start saving.
For fees covered, rate like take requirements and other terms and conditions, visit inflationbuster.com. Call 1-833-7-ROCKET. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery.
An accident with a deer and a car, Faro Road at Marathon Road, hit and run with injuries at Longtown Road at Clemson Road, and a disabled vehicle 26 eastbound at St. Andrews exit 106.
The Mega Millions jackpot for Friday is $64 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. CSCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds in a store near you.
At Mount Valley Foundation Services, we're proud to share some of what our customers have said about us.
When we realized our family room was sinking, we knew we had to act fast and get the right people to come out and evaluate our situation. It was nerve-wracking. Turns out I had a foundation problem. They fixed it and guaranteed it for life.
Mount Valley Foundation Services can secure your foundation. Visit fixmyfoundation.com to book your free inspection.
Mount Valley Foundation Services, rock solid foundation.
Hey, this is Ray and Nathan with Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
When we say no tricks, only treats, we mean it.
At Pope Davis, we are literally handing out treats.
Until October 31st, buy any set of 4 Mastercraft tires, and we will give you a big bag of candy.
That is a treat. Wait, what if you get spooked by candy?
Well, Karen, then I've got a pumpkin spice candle for you.
He's dead serious.
Buy some tires, get some candy.
Or a pumpkin spice candle.
Only at Pope Davis Tire and Automotive.
With approved credit, call 888-411-7640 for details. Dodgeland has the largest new 2023 Ram Charger Challenger inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Ram, Charger, or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodge Land on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. Ram Power Days.
This football season and every football season, come to campus and catch a game. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game. Find your tickets online at GamecocksOnline.com.
Hey guys, it's me, wrestling legend Ric Flair, and I'm on a mission to help millions of guys put more flair down there with Mount Everest. Unlike generic ED treatment programs that can take up to 60 minutes to work, Mount Everest can have you standing at attention in as little as 5 minutes. You'll have an absolutely mind-blowing experience every time. That's because only Mount Everest offers a unique 3-in-1 custom compounded medication. Mount Everest will make you a kiss-stealing, wheeling-dealing son of a gun like me every night. Don't lose another night to ED. Put some flair down there with Mount Everest. Woo!
See if Mount Everest is right for you. Go to joinnuimage.com now and use promo code RADIO to save 20%. That's join, the letters NU, image.com and use promo code RADIO to save 20%. Go to joinnuimage.com and save 20% with promo code RADIO.
Makes a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews? And you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast. Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
You've won this division 6 times in a row. This would be 7th. What would this one mean, though?
I think it'd be special just because, obviously the teams are great. All our teams in our division are great football teams that can win each and every week. But just to have some new guys and kind of integrate them into the culture that we have here in Kansas City, you can see they're really buying in.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out its warehouse before new government efficiency regulations go into effect in 2023. No deals will be turned down. Call today to get a new unit tomorrow. 803-677-1500.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Time now for the old-timey meat market clip of the day. On November 3rd, 2018, the Gamecock football team won a wild one in Oxford, Mississippi, 48-44. As we've mentioned a few times recently, Deebo Samuel very prominent on our old-timey clips of the day. No different at Ole Miss. Here are Todd and Tommy.
Here's Luke Logan to kick off, and it's a low line drive, returnable. And it bounces one time, and Deebo tries to pick it up at the 10. He does so. Up the near hash, one move at the 20. 25-30. Go, Deebo. 40.
Gone. He's gone.
Deebo at the 50. Go get him, Deebo, at the 40. 30 of Ole Miss. At the 20, 10, 5, touchdown Carolina. Touchdown Deebo Samuel. 90 yards. That's how you started off at 11 a.m. on the road in the Southeastern Conference. Boom.
I'll tell you one thing. I didn't realize we had so many fans here, though, Todd, because we all look like we dressed the same. But we must have 3,000 to 4,000 fans here. Wow.
They saw a familiar sight. His first of the year, his 4th ever. Deebo, all-time kickoff return leader. The last one he did was, of course, against Missouri for 97 yards a year ago.
The thing that happened there was the drop of the ball. We got everybody out of the sink a little bit, got them out of their lanes coming down defensively, and that allowed our blocks to set up. And a little bit of hesitation, a little patience, and then once he saw the hole, he was gone. And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market, with 3 locations: Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios, this is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Reminder, coming up in about an hour, about 50 minutes from now, we're going to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to Saturday afternoon South Carolina, Missouri game. It's the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway that we are doing, and that will come up at about 8:10. Also want to remind you that you can catch Thursday night football right here tonight. Carolina calls from 6 to 7. Here's our lineup for tonight. Carolina calls 6 to 7 tonight. Then you can catch the Tommy Moody Show Thursday night. That is tonight, 7 p.m., right after Carolina calls. And then you got a good night of football. I think I'm actually going to be a little bit more involved in the NFL with the Ravens and the Bucks, and you can hear that right here starting at 7:30. So, again, reminder, though, we will give you a pair of tickets, the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway coming up at about 8:10 this morning, so plan that accordingly. Coach Tony Annan joining us as he does each and every week, getting set to head to Atlanta for a big match against Georgia State. 2 regular season matches left. And I want to get into some coaching philosophy with you. But again, I know I ask you a lot, but you do have to be very pleased. I know you'd like some results to be better. We just talked about the James Madison one, but we mentioned the strength of schedule. It's been a daunting schedule for your young team this year. They've learned a lot. You've got to be very pleased with your direction of your program, especially after some conversations you and I had where last year adjusting, coming from the United. I don't know how familiar you were necessarily with recruiting in college and all that prior, but you've got to be pleased with where you sit here heading into November and the very end of this season.
Yeah, I am. I'm pleased with the group. I'm pleased with the culture that we've created. We haven't just turned up the temperature, as some people say, but we have actually changed the way we train, how we prepare, how we think about the game. The details that the guys are demanding from us now is clear evidence that they want to win. So yeah, all those things, and obviously on the field, we've played a good brand this year. We've stayed in a lot of games that we wouldn't have stayed in last year, I think. And we found a way to not lose this year, which is good. But obviously, again, never satisfied with tying games and not winning games. But yes, pleased.
Well, I say that because these next 2 and then the Sun Belt tournament give you a chance to springboard into next year. I know when I coached, you'd see kids developing, and you knew if they were young kids, you see them developing. And I don't want to say that you're moving past what you want to finish strong. There's still an opportunity to make the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of things on the table, but you've got to see the development of your young kids and kind of almost look ahead to 2023 and go, ooh, I like what we got coming. Like you're a coach. You work hard. You see development. You get excited when kids develop. And so I don't want to put past anything what's happening now with these kids, because you also have seniors you want to send out on the good foot and have great experiences. But you've got to see some development in some young guys that you look at and go, another season of off-season training, more weight room work. I really like what I've got in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the guys who have been come to games and the guys who give me feedback on the, guys who I respect and trust, that's kind of their saying. It's like these guys are so young, they're little boys compared to the guys from Marshall or, even Clemson, because they had an older team. But it's the potential that you see in the player. But they've been drinking from a fire hose since August, right? Some of them, they've come out of high school or out of an academy where it's been fairly easy for them. And they've been the star and they've been on the pedestal and we've recruited them. And they get here and they're like, wow, it's fast, it's physical. I don't get as much time on the ball. I have to think quicker. And it is a better level of sort of physicality is higher, and they have to think quicker. And they've struggled, some of them, early on. But then you start to see the growth game by game, week by week. You start to see them figuring it out. It's not completely figured out yet, but then you say, you know what, another 6 months of this, another 6 months of stretching them and making them feel uncomfortable. Hopefully you get another 10% out of them. So it's a process. It's like anything. It's a process with individuals. It's a process as a team. But it's one that you've got to put everything into to make it work.
And 2 young guys that I know you were very excited about coming in. One just scored his first goal about a week and a half ago. Rocky Perez gets his first goal. He was out of Texas. And then the other guy that we talked about in the preseason that you were excited about and suffered a little bit of a setback, but has come along, is Ben Alexander, your goalie. And you and I have talked about, all right, for people as we try and teach soccer a little bit around here, the strength of your team, you said, is your spine. And that starts really with your goalie. Talk a little bit about Rocky and Ben. And what you've seen now is you go from when you got them was, I think, August 13th is about when that date was, which is still crazy. Maybe August 8th, I think, August 8th, to what you've seen now as we wrap up October.
Yeah, I think if you look at both of those guys, they both came out of pro academies, and they were both on very good teams. With Ben, he was on Vancouver Whitecaps, which, in all honesty, they never had that much of a challenge especially during COVID, because they couldn't leave Canada and they could only play provincial teams around them. So Ben really never got tested. He never had that much of the ball. When he did, he wasn't under any pressure. So, take 2 years of that and then come into a college season where balls are flying left and right, and we're asking you to play and we're asking you to save shots. He had a shaky start, but I believed in him. I saw his ability. I didn't drop him. I didn't change him. We talked. We did video. We did a lot of stuff together. And he's now coming. I think he's turned the corner. He made a wonderful save the other day against James Madison. That kept us in the game. So I think Ben, again, he's young. He carries himself older, but he's got another 2-3 years to really, really grab hold of this thing. And then Rock, on the other side, he's a different player. He's a very exciting player. Same with like Deckel, right? They both came in. Deckel hadn't played for like a year when he got here, a competitive game. So that takes it out of someone. You've got to find your rhythm. You've got to find your match fitness. But they're both showing huge potential to be fantastic players in college.
And South Carolina, of course, has a very good goalie tradition that Ben's got to live up to. Brad Guzan, who is he still with Atlanta United?
Yeah, he's probably in his last couple of years with Atlanta.
That's why I wasn't sure if he was still there or not. But South Carolina and Ben will have. That's another guy you talk about. All right, he's played a good bit. Now you get him in the offseason program, a little stronger. You put him through a few more training sessions, and then you get him back next year. Let's go back to the coaching before the game, because I relate back to this coming week for South Carolina. You get the big victory over Texas A&M. You've been there before. You guys get a big victory or you do something very positive. How do you coach your guys after a big victory? What is the week like after, as you try to keep them mentally focused and maybe not reading the internet? I don't think anybody reads the newspapers anymore, but whatever it may be, to keep them level-headed and ready.
That's a tough part, right? You get a huge win in front of a huge crowd, and it's the energy. You feed off the energy. It could take you a few days to come down from that. But for me, whenever we have a big win, it's enjoy the win. You have to enjoy it, because you don't win all the time. And when you do, you've got to make sure that your locker room enjoys winning, to really force that winning mentality and force the feeling of this is what it feels like to win. But then you've got to get on with it. You've got to say, right, that's in the bin. That's done. Let's go. Let's focus on the next one. It cannot be, well, look what we did on Sunday. Look what we did on Sunday. Look what we did on Sunday. That's got to be Sunday after the game, or Saturday with the football team, is, right, let's have 30, 40 minutes and enjoy this, right? Go have a good time after the game if that's what you want to do. Enjoy winning. But then on the next 24 hours, you've got to be back to basics and back to the grind of preparing for the next one, because you cannot let your feet leave the ground. So those are the kind of things you put into people's heads. You've got to enjoy the little wins or the big wins, but then you just got to bounce back straight away and get focused for the next one.
Now, will we ever see Tony Annan in the locker room turn the hat back around, throw in some shades, and start dancing with the players? Or does that have to be a championship level to get you to dance in the locker room after? Is that got to be Sun Belt championship or national championship, or do we get to see Tony Annan dancing?
No.
Well, you'll be back on the Gamecock
not.
Club
I
circuit
think,
in the offseason with Shane. You and Shane, y'all learned. You exchanged a lot of ideas last year. You can exchange dancing tips.
I'm a decent dancer, to be fair.
Okay.
I've got to be honest, but not on camera. Not on camera. I just don't, I'm not going to crack out the worm in the windmill unless I'm behind closed doors. Okay. But that's just me personally. There's nothing against doing it.
What is the celebration in the locker room for you? Are you just more of you're a pretty laid back guy, so I have a hard time imagining that.
I let the players enjoy it. I go in, I roll them up, I tell them to get the music on. I bump a few and, get into a few, but then I leave it. I'll leave the door closed, and I do not want any part of that, because that's not for me. It's for them. Now, championships, when we won the national championships in Atlanta, it's good times, and I'll let go, and I'll have a real good time with the guys. But for me, it's just the small victories are the ones you have to let the players have, and you'd have to stay out of the way.
We'll continue talking about some coaching philosophies. He's Coach Tony Annan, Bill Gunner, producer Ed Bird. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Keep up with our 15th anniversary podcast
by downloading our 107.5 The Game app
or at 1075thegame.com.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Life moves until back, neck, or shoulder pain hits and brings you to a stop. That's why there's the Joint Chiropractic, an easy and affordable way to relieve pain and help keep you moving. At The Joint, there's no appointment or insurance hassles, and we're open evenings and weekends. Visit today to keep your life moving with our $29 new patient special, including an exam, consultation, and chiropractic adjustment. Visit thejoint.com. That's thejoint.com to find a clinic near you.
Spooky season is here, and there's nothing scarier than dingy, dirty, crunchy carpet under your feet. Trust no one other than the cleaning experts at Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning to save your home from the dirt monsters. With over 1,900 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, Zerez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the most highly reviewed cleaning company in the Midlands. Take advantage of their fall sale going on now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game. Schedule your cleaning online, ZerezColumbia.com.
Is your old car really scary? Are you frightened by how much you owe? Gotta go to Galliana Kia on Greystone can get you out of your old car and into a new Kia with 0 down and 0 payments until next year. And we'll beat any price, anywhere in the USA. Send us a screenshot of the best price you can find, and Galliana Kia will sell it to you for less. New 2023 Kia Forte LXS, just $19,799. Sign and drive, not a lease. You own it for $289 per month with 0 down and 0 payments until next year. Gotta go to Galliana. Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Reserve right to validate comparison price. Forte stock number 3K1513. 0 down, $289 per month for 84 months at 5.99% APR. Price plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed to new loan. Subject to lender approval. Expires with that.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to get you moving again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care for patients at 5 convenient locations throughout the Midlands. Whether you're an athlete looking to return to your sport after injury or someone who needs help for knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, or foot pain, we're here for you. Our expert team can get you better sooner. Visit lexmed.com/ortho to learn more.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Mid-State twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
With approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 0.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit. Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the 2023 Ram or Jeep of your dreams. Get 0.9% financing and let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington, jtsjeep.com. Ram Power Days.
Football season is grilling season, and Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio is South Carolina's premier source for the big three. Weber, Traeger, and Big Green Egg Grills. Blackstone Griddles, too. I'm Jack Oliver. Grill all your tailgate favorites to perfection with a premium gas, charcoal, or pellet grill, then top it all off with something sizzling from your Blackstone Griddle. For grills, griddles, patio furniture, hot tubs, and saunas, shop in store or online at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, Forest Drive in Columbia, and jackoliverpools.com.
Sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with tools to do incredible things because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
(803-404-6100). If you want to send a text message in, Darby weighs in and says, I enjoy when Coach Annan is on. He sounds like a player's coach and someone kids would love to play for. No doubt good things are on the horizon for this program team. But he's got a question, Coach. He says, where does the Big Green rank on his soccer movie power rankings? Now, you're talking to somebody. Let's make sure, and I think you've kind of figured it out. You're talking to somebody who movie knowledge is limited to begin with. All right. I have no clue what the Big Green is, so I might have just read some kind of.
No, it's a kid's soccer movie. I remember seeing it years ago when I was doing a summer camp. I think we played it. It's quite funny, but it's not high on my list of favorite movies, but it's a good movie. Kicking and Screaming, is one of my favorite soccer movies because I just love Will Ferrell in that role. What's the guy from the Bengals called? Mike, the football guy.
Oh, Mike. No, Mike Ditka.
He plays the dad in Kicking and Screaming.
Oh, is it?
He's great.
It's been years. It's been years
It's
ago.
been years since I've seen it. I'd probably watch it again just to see that. It is Mike Ditka, yeah. That's who it is.
He's from the Bears.
He's from the Bears. Sorry,
Bears.
not
That's
the
all
Bengals.
right.
But
That's-
I mean, what am I? Who am I?
I'll have to go back and look. Was it Ditka in there? Is that who it was?
I'm pretty sure that was the dad in Kicking and Screaming, and Will Ferrell was the son, and they went against each other. And it's like recreation soccer.
Ditka was in it, but I think Robert Duvall, as I pull it up, Robert Duvall was the dad, but Ditka was in it in some role.
He was the other coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
okay.
yeah. It's been years.
Been a while. Anyway, Big Green's good movie. Yeah.
803-404-6100 if you want to send in a question for Coach Annan this morning. Yes, Will says Robert Duvall, and then was this? What about Green Street Hooligans? He says more based on a community around the soccer team, but a good one.
It's actually very factual, that movie.
Really?
Yeah, it's that was the way it was in the 80s, 90s, and it's a great movie, but it's not for young kids.
Okay, yeah, don't
Pretty violent.
Watch that one later at.
Got the hooligan element of soccer.
803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning, if you want to ask Coach Annan any question as we kind of move forward. Again, match tomorrow night in Atlanta against Georgia State, but a big one. And again, I can promote it. You need to be focused on Georgia State. But next Tuesday, they'll have the beer sales. Columbia Craft will be out there. You can go and check it out, Stone Stadium. You'll have Kentucky in town. And again, as of the most recent poll, the Wildcats are number 2. So it'd be a great environment. You can always go down, and a great family setting. I'll throw a pitch out there for our good buddy Brian Glenn, who owns Village Idiot. When I took Austin back to the Clemson game, we were able to park down there around Village Idiot, kind of down there in the Olympia area, get some great pizza, wander up the street a little bit, and attend the game. So next Tuesday, 7:00, Kentucky will be in town. Again, that'll be a big game for your team, and it'll be a chance to make a statement for your team. But let's talk a little bit about it again, going back to coaching philosophy. And we were cutting up there in the last segment about how you celebrate wins. When you do that and you go back out to the pitch and you go back out and you start practicing, I'm guessing Monday, if you play on Sunday, Monday is a rest day for your guys. Is that correct?
Usually recovery or a day off, yeah.
So let's tie it back in. Shane Beamer has the big win on Saturday night. Sunday's their recovery day. Do you find yourself needing to be a little bit more stern, pointing out errors a little bit more to get your guys focused? I don't see where you could go out like on the next practice and be the player-friendly coach and a guy makes a mistake. And do you have to do that to maybe get their attention a little bit more? Have you found that in your coaching history?
Yeah, not I wouldn't say stern or critiquing their mistakes more than I would usually. It's more about how do you introduce the week? Like, I've got 28 players to introduce the week to, not 110 players, right? So it's how do you introduce the week? How do you set the week up verbally in the meeting before you start training of what you expect, set the expectations, try and tell them to forget about where we've been and where we're going, and set up the week so that the focus is on where we're going, not where we've been. So I think verbally you can do that. And then the exercises or the training sessions you put on then have to prepare them for the coming week and never remind them of where they've been, sort of thing. Does that make sense? It's about moving on. And you've got to do that without being a different coach. Because how you got the win, help them, who you were, help them get the win. They got the win, right? They're the ones on the pitch who did it. But the way you were before that game and the way you trained them before that game helped them get to that point. Now, if you start being a different guy and start being a bit of an A to some players because they didn't do so well or they didn't perform, then you're changing your persona of how we got to where we got to. So there's a fine line of changing your approach, but also in fostering that winning mentality and fostering that excitement that you created the week before. So it's a real sort of art, I guess, in coaching, and sometimes you get it wrong.
I've heard Lamont Paris talk about this, and I think it's an interesting concept for coaches. Lamont Paris basically said, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but the way he phrased it was, when they get to the game, the hay is in the barn. There's only so much he can do in a game. Maybe there's a play or two here he can draw up and change the direction of the game, but it's on his players. Whereas I've heard guys like Steve Spurrier go, I get into the game, I can coach him up, I can draw plays here and there, I can dictate the flow of the game and how we're going to win. Are you a guy that is you think the training, once you get to the game, you're pretty limited? Because I've heard you say a couple times today, the guys win the game. Whereas I've heard some coaches go, I win the game. I coach them. I win the game. Where do you stand on that?
The coach can influence the game, right? You can make substitutions. You can move players into different positions. You can change formations. You know, you can influence and manipulate the game, the players on the field. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who make the decisions. They're the ones who make the runs. They're the ones who get into position and score chances and miss chances and make mistakes, right? So it's a joint effort. The coach can, but the coach doesn't win the game. That's in my opinion, that's for sure. Now, if you watch me coach, I'm intense, I'm demanding, and I introduce myself to everybody I ever meet that way. I don't hide behind the fact that I am intense, I am demanding, and my levels of standards are very, very high, and my discipline's very, very high. That's who I am. I'm not going to change now in my older age. I've changed my philosophy on training a little bit. I've changed my philosophy on systems, but I don't change who I am. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Right? You can be over demanding. You can be too intense. You can be over the top a little bit, and you've got to reel yourself back in and grab a hold of yourself. But I feel like players feed off that energy, and that's my philosophy towards coaching. There are coaches who sit there and don't say a word, who have great teams, who play great football. That's their choice, right? What would they get out of their team if they were more intense? Would it go the other way? Would it be a reverse effect if they stood up and started making players accountable in the moment? There's some guys that do it in training and not in games. It's all personal philosophy, and it's all ups and downs and ebbs and flows, right? But I think your team, the old saying, right? The fish stinks from the head to the tail. And if you don't have personality and you don't have energy and you don't have sort of the intensity that you require your team to play with, and you don't train that, and you don't exude that in the locker room, you don't exude that on the sideline, then how can you expect your players to be that way? And that is where I think where the rubber hits the road.
803-404-6100. When we come back, we'll get into a little bit of Premier League, a couple big matches this coming weekend. Not far, really. Today is the 27th. I don't exactly have a date on Thanksgiving, but I know the Friday after is the United States and England.
Yep.
So we are not far away. We're less than a month away from the World Cup, but your Newcastle club has a fun match this weekend against Aston Villa as they try to find their footing after firing their head coach, a little over a week ago, I guess. So we'll talk a little Premier League, get your take on what you're seeing over there and what should be another fun weekend. You're listening to Tony Annan, Bill Gunner. He's producer Ed Bird. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Game time with Heath Klein.
The idea that after you get to 5-2, I got people calling in saying, let's bench the quarterback.
Well, I don't think he's been anything close to a shiny toy. And in 7 games, over halfway of the season, I have not been impressed with him.
Duly noted, Scott. You have successfully crapped all over your win. Congratulations. I appreciate the call. What in the world is your life? Based on what? For Pete's sake, man. You don't win many games. Try just for a day or two to enjoy it. Just give it a chance. The Happy Fun Time Show continues after this.
3 to 6 p.m. on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Capital Palmetto Builders.
An accident at Hardscrabble and Summit, an accident at Longs Pond and Barr, an accident at Longtown Road at Clemson, disabled vehicle at Bluff Road and I-77, and a disabled vehicle on the ramp 26 eastbound at exit 106 to St. Andrews Road.
Uh-oh. That little leak could be a big problem. Capital Palmetto Builders has 22 years of experience in roofing repairs and maintenance. We're HAG certified, insured, and offering free inspections. Go to capitalpalmettobuilders.com and see why real professionals make all the difference.
Life matters. January 2nd, 1984, something big happened on the NBC Nightly News. Few people had noticed, but the globe on the network news show's logo had been turning in the wrong direction for years. 1984 saw the world start turning in the right direction. Life's like that sometimes. Our whole world is going the wrong way, but we've gotten used to it. Then somebody or something points out the inconsistency. Maybe a loved one says, no more. Maybe
I totally forgot he had to go. I totally forgot. So he had to go. So he is out the door. We'll save that one, Kelly, for next week.
Chelsea and Madison, some of the things they do at tree shrub removal, tree pruning, tree planting, tree bracing, raising tree canopy, stump grinding removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, demolition and rock removal, right-of-way maintenance. You got to get in touch with these people. 803-794-8253. Let me give you that again. 803-794-8253. Call right now and get a free estimate. Most challenging jobs, Pioneer Tree Service. You want to call somebody?
Plug up the old computer.
Or find us online at pioneertreesc.com.
Pioneer Tree Service.
Find your tickets online at gamecocks.online.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah, I mean he's on a weekly basis. We just have to alternate the days a little bit because of their schedule and everything.
What genetics is doing for people here is nothing short of amazing. I'm talking real lasting relief from joint pain. Hey, genetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine, non-surgical alternative. If you're living with joint pain from an injury or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroids, pain medications, and surgery are your only options. UC Kinetic uses regenerative treatments that restore.
All right, we're pretty good here. We've done a good job this morning.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out its warehouse before new government efficiency regulations come into effect in 2023. Don't be
Boy.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. With Bill Gunter and Tony Annan, your home of the Gamecocks. The early game, 1075
Final segment of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up in the next hour, Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com will join us, give his picks for the weekend. And then coming up at 8:40, Kerry Tharp will be a part of the program. Darlington Raceway president will join us. I don't listen. I don't really pay attention to what other people tell me. I'm semi-selfish. And to that vein, I totally forgot that Coach Annan told me when he walked in that he had to leave at 7:45 to go do training. So he's gone. He's left. He probably his team takes precedent. Makes sense. Makes his club. His club takes precedent over him being in here. And I think I understand that. I'll get over it if not here in the next hour. But I always enjoy having him be a part of the program, and very just informative from the standpoint of coaching philosophy with how he does it. He spent a lot of time. You've heard him kind of talk about, if you've listened to our weekly segments, he spent a lot of time with Shane Beamer and Lamont Paris this past offseason, traveling, doing the Gamecock Club tours. And he's talked about being able to take things from what they do, from what Coach Paris, from what Coach Beamer does with their programs, how they're incorporating. He's talked a lot about, how Coach Beamer's running his program and how he's going about doing things, and some of the things that Coach Annan took and is utilizing for his program this year. And again, it should be stated that, he walked into a situation. I know I've gotten to know Coach Annan very well, and he would never, ever say that it was a rebuild. He felt that what he had left, he should have won right away. But he walked into a situation in which he had to rebuild this soccer program. And I know that a lot of people maybe don't follow it or haven't followed it as closely, but they've had a very good year. They've been very good this year. They've played a very difficult schedule, as they sit here at 5-5-4 overall. They've been very tough at home at Stone Stadium, 5-2-1 on the season. And that one draw came just last weekend against James Madison. I think big things are in store for South Carolina soccer with Tony Annan leading the program. You've heard him talk about it. They've got a young club over there, 18 young guys, a lot of them making big contributions. Ben Alexander is likely the goalie for South Carolina, as a guy that could very well end up playing overseas in the Premier Leagues if he continues to develop and get better. And what Coach Annan has done in just 2 years is absolutely phenomenal. They've got a great chance to finish strong here. They'll go on the road this weekend, Friday night, I should say, against Georgia State. It's a Sun Belt Conference matchup. And then again, I will continue to promote it next Tuesday over at Stone Stadium. Kentucky, who's ranked number 2 in the country, very, very good Kentucky team, will be here. I'd encourage you to get out and check that out. Make it a great environment over at Stone Stadium for Coach Annan's ball club. It'll be their season finale, or regular season finale, over there next Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Again, you'll be able to go out and purchase the beer over there. It'll be a good time. Make it a little bit of a rowdy environment. 803-404-6100 again is how you can join us this morning. If you want to be a part of the program, we'll get back into some football talk coming up in the next segment and talk a little bit about this South Carolina-Missouri matchup on Thursday night. I will, real quick, to change subjects before we get back to that. I did not last night. I was attending my daughter's final. She cheers for Gilbert Middle School, and so I was out in Gilbert. I did not get to attend the Garnet and Black Madness event held down at Colonial Life Arena for Lamont Paris's ball club. I've seen some of the reviews from it, Gigi Jackson and stuff. I am very, very interested to see that ball club next Tuesday. They'll take on Mars Hill over at Colonial Life Arena. I am very interested to see his team progress throughout the season. Hayden Brown was held out last night. He's currently dealing with an injury and is something that South Carolina needs to get him back. I think that in year one, much like what Coach Annan went through in year one, Coach Paris is going to have to go through rebuilding this program. He has a nice piece in Gigi Jackson, but as we talked about with a couple different people in the last few days, there's a lot being put on Gigi Jackson for this year, maybe some of it unfairly. He should still be a senior in high school. He should be a guy that is going to be very good, but you're going to see some growing pains from him, I think, this year. He did have a couple nice dunks last night early on. Looks like he's going to play more of the small forward spot for Lamont Paris this year as they go along, as he continues to develop and work on his game for the NBA. But certainly should be a lot of fun. I just hate to see that. I didn't get over there. And Jeremy weighs in, by the way, says, "Hey, Bill, how about a shout out for the Gilbert Middle School Pac Southern?" It was the Southern Med, Bowl last night. Jeremy, I was out there. Daughter was cheering, and it was a lot of fun to watch out there as well. But that was the reason I was not able to get down to the Garnet and Black Madness last night at Colonial Life Arena. But again, I watched a lot of the highlights, the videos that were put out, just trying to keep up with it. Michi Johnson looked like a guy. Wasn't expecting a lot from Johnson this year based on some things I had heard previously, but it sounds like he's had a very, very good preseason. The transfer from Ohio State, former very highly thought of recruit. And it sounds like Michi Johnson, from people I've talked to and even from his performance last night, has had a fantastic preseason, and is a guy that I actually think now, based on feedback I've gotten, will be the guy that carries South Carolina and will be the go-to player for Lamont Paris, especially early on in the season. So we'll talk more basketball next week, certainly as we get closer to the exhibition against Mars Hill and the season opener on the 8th against South Carolina State. A lot to get to there. But coming up next hour, Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com and Kerry Tharp of Darlington Raceway. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
Stylish office decor to turn my finished basement into a complete workspace solution.
Staples has you covered.
A desk that's all business, but not too businessy.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now at Staples, save 25% on all desks, storage, and filing.
All right, one more. Oh, I need to send out this tweet. All right, there's 2 R's and interrupt. Yep, there is. No keyword. That's good. No keyword. I was saying there's no keyword. No, that's good. Is that easiest for you? You'd rather do that? Okay. Yep. We'll do it. I'm going to call for some audio here. So if you'll just kind of try and stay ready, use some of this audio right here in this segment. Okay. 803-404-6100 if you want to call in this morning or on the Love Chevy phone lines, or if you want to be a part of the program on the text line. Again, you can always go and join us on our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search and subscribe to 1075 The Game. We love when people join us there. Kelly, York, Chuck, Larry, Troy, who's our resident Clemson fan on our live stream, but he's a good guy. We enjoy having him in there as well. You can go and be a part of the live stream with them. Again, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of our program there. Again, you can join us on the Love Chevy phone lines, 803-404-6100, or you can text in also. A lot to get to in this coming hour. Brian Edwards, a Vegas insider, will join us coming up in about 17 minutes. He has sent in his picks for the week. We'll get to those coming up at 8:40 this morning. Kerry Tharp will join us, and we'll talk a little NASCAR with him and get you ready for the upcoming weekend. So a lot to do this coming hour. Reminder, tomorrow, our good buddy Patrick Perrette will be back here at 7 a.m. to spend some time with us. And then Chris Deering will join us. The final week of the high school season takes place. It'll be the CNT High School Highlights of the Week, CNT Foundation's High School Highlights of the Week, as we get you ready for a Friday night of high school football here in the state of South Carolina. 803-404-6100 again, how you can weigh in. Clayton White and Marcus Satterfield were talking yesterday. One thing that's happened over the weekend is Clayton White has been, or after the Texas A&M game, Clayton White has been mentioned for several head coaching jobs. He has been kind of brought up. He was on the athletic.website.com, the athletic.com's website. He's been mentioning as a possible candidate for Charlotte. Yesterday, he talked about head coaching rumors and how he handles them. Here's what Clayton White had to say. Going to go to number 8 after this. Number 8 after this. Again, that's Clayton White from meeting with the media and talking about his name just being mentioned. He mentioned Bruce Feldman. Yeah, it was just his name popping up. And South Carolina's going to this defense is getting better as the year goes along. They're healthy. Obviously, not having Jordan Strong and Mo Kaba, two guys that were there at the beginning that were going to be counted upon heavily, especially Kaba there at middle linebacker, but Jordan Strong to coming off the edge. But you've seen Gilbert Edmond kind of step up. Sherrod Green has played better the last 2 games. Stone Blanton is coming along at a nice little pace. Keep an eye on Stone Blanton this weekend, and we'll see kind of the impact he can have on the Gamecocks. But certainly the job that Clayton White has done has been very impressive. In South Carolina, they did give him an extension and a raise last year. Probably going to have to do it again after this season. Going to have to probably get him a little bit higher. Now, one thing that's interesting about this coming weekend is Clayton White does have a level of familiarity with Eli Drinkowitz. They were actually both at North Carolina State. And yesterday, Clayton White talked a little bit about working with the Missouri head coach, Eli Drinkwitz, while at North Carolina State. Here's what he had to say.
Clayton, did you drink overlap at NC State at all? Was it briefly? I guess, what's that like going up against a drink coached offense? And I guess what's kind of y'all's relationship?
See, you normally done the homework, man. Yes, we worked together in 2016 at NC State. Yep.
And I guess, what's it like going up against his offense, or what was it like working with him?
No, Drink's a high energy guy. He flies around, and you can hear him here and there. But for the most part, his offense is going to challenge you from a motion shift and trickery, and they have a lot of different schemes that they're really good at. A lot of teams try to do multiple runs, and they're not so efficient, but they're pretty efficient at a couple different run concepts.
That's Clayton White talking about his time and his understanding, his time working with Eli Drinkwitz, and his understanding of what Drinkwitz wants to do. Now, last year, South Carolina, they stopped Missouri early on. They were doing a good job early on. The difference in that ball game a year ago was simply Tyler Beatty, who had 209 yards rushing, who basically put the game away for Missouri late in the ball game. Missouri gave it to Beatty 34 times last year in Columbia, Missouri. Again, he had 209 yards. Connor Bazelak, the then quarterback for Missouri, was 15 of 23 for 180 yards, had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The one thing Missouri comes into this game that they don't have this year, they did have last year, again, is a more potent running game. Missouri will enter this game 9th in the league, 9th in the SEC in rushing. They're averaging just over 157 yards per game. It should be noted that South Carolina is currently, Missouri's 10th in the league at 156 yards per game, so I was 1 yard off. South Carolina's 11th, 141 yards per game in rushing. So you got the 10th and 11th ranked rushing offenses coming into the game, but Missouri is not running the football as effectively as they have in years past, and that's something to keep an eye on. I like the matchup. Clayton White, his defense, which again seems to be improving. You really go back to last weekend, and if you look at the scoring that Texas A&M did, one of those field goals comes on the 83-yard drive there at the very end of the game. South Carolina had up 9, had kind of gone prevent defense and basically just trying to run the clock out, keep Texas A&M in front of them, keep the clock moving, and they drive down and they get the field goal. The other scoring drives for Texas A&M, one of them coming off of the Spencer Rattler fumble that led to A&M being able to put the ball in the end zone, and that the only major drive, 7 plays, 83 yards at the end on the prevent defense. The only other major drive that A&M was able to really put together was the end of the second quarter, where they went 13 plays and 94 yards. So by and large, last week, South Carolina held Texas A&M's offense in check. Again, you can't just discredit it. You can't say, well, it didn't happen. The end, 7 plays, 83 yards. Maybe they could have done something a little different here or there. But South Carolina's defense has been playing a lot better of late. And I like that matchup with Clayton White against Eli Drinkwitz on Saturday night and how he plays. One guy that's been playing really well is Darius Rush. Clayton White talked a little bit about the cornerback for the Gamecocks, who came in as a wide receiver, had a very tough spring game several years ago, moved over to the defensive side of the ball, and has really developed into one of the top-end SEC cornerbacks. Here's what Clayton White had to talk about with Darius Rush.
To me, with Rush, it's the main thing with him is just he's becoming a better practice player, and he's understanding the smaller things, and he's always been a good practice player. Now I think he's becoming a great practice player. That's just going to show out on the field. He's a ultra-talented corner. He's tall, long, smart, very cerebral guy, but he's practicing better. He's having different temperament in regards of things that aren't as flashy in his position, and Coach Gray's grinding him all the time, and I think it's paying off for Rush. But it was nice to see him to have a production, and the way he stepped in front of that ball the other night was awesome to see right in front of our sideline.
Again, a lot of good things happening for the South Carolina defense. Clayton White currently making $1.1 million. That is a raise of $200,000 through after his first contract, and we'll kind of continue to see if this defense plays well. If South Carolina can shut down Missouri, do what they need to against Vanderbilt, maybe go into the swamp and contain Anthony Richardson, you might be paying a little bit more. maybe up to 1.3. There might be a need to do your best to contain and keep Clayton White as South Carolina's defensive coordinator here moving forward. But Saturday will be a lot of fun. Again, I like that matchup there of Clayton White against Eli Drinkwitz. We will come back. We'll catch up with Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com, get his picks. But right now, I want to give you an opportunity to win a pair of tickets to Saturday night's ball game against Missouri. It's the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway. You can give us a call. We'll take caller number 8, Mr. Ed Bird. Caller number 8. It's the Carolina Honda Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway right now here on 107.5 The Game.
Call now to win Gamecocks tickets right here. 803-404-6100. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your source for Honda Power Sports, ATVs, motorcycles, side-by-sides, and generators. From your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. The Halftime Show with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford.
Noon to 3.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Some new changes coming to HVAC systems the start of 2023. There'll be some government regulations that will alter these current systems that are being sold, and that means there is no better time than right now to take advantage of AAA heating and air. That's right. You can actually take advantage of them. They've got a lot of units in stock, and they've got to empty the warehouse. And right now, no deals will be turned down. In fact, guaranteed financing is available. That means if you've got any credit at all, AAA Heating and Air is going to work with you and make sure you get the financing necessary to get your brand new heating and air unit installed. And then once you get it installed, AAA Heating and Air ups the game a little bit. They give you a 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that heating and air unit continues to work. So don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. That's how you can get in touch with them. Maybe you need a little free ductwork inspection. That's right. Leaks in your ductwork system can mean that you're heating up some of the critters that crawl into your house this time of year when it gets cold outside. Let AAA's trained technicians inspect your ductwork to make sure it is sealed tight. Give them a phone call. So whether you're looking for a brand new heating and air unit or you need a little work on the ductwork there in your house, make sure it's sealed tightly. Give AAA Heating and Air a call, 803-677-1500. You can schedule your inspection today, or you can get that guaranteed financing for that brand new heating and air unit. AAA Heating and Air, taking care of everyone in the Midlands. Give them a phone call today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you, 803-677-1500.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Buffalo remains atop my power rankings. The Bills cling to a half-game divisional lead over the Jets. KC's huge win at San Francisco vaults them into second ahead of unbeaten Philly. Minnesota at 5-1, and the Dallas Prescotts complete my Fab Five. Next come resurgent Cincinnati, the surprising Giants, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Gang Green, the Jets. I'm Boomer Science.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Sponsored by Audible.
An accident at Hardscrabble and Summit, an accident at Longs Pond and Bar, an accident at Longtown Road at Clemson, disabled vehicle at Bluff Road and I-77, and a disabled vehicle on the ramp 26 eastbound at exit 106 to St. Andrews Road.
This fall, find everything you love listening to on Audible. From memoirs and true crime to celebrities and sci-fi. Audible is the home of storytelling, audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Sign up for a free 30-day trial at audible.com.
With approved credit, call 888-411-7640 for details. Dodgeland has the largest new 2023 Ram Charger Challenger inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 1.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit? Forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the Ram Charger or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you approved. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. Ram Power Days.
What QC Kinetics is doing for people here is nothing short of amazing. I'm talking real, lasting relief from joint pain. Hey, it's Bill Gunner, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in exciting new pain treatments with advanced regenerative medicine, non-surgical alternatives. If you're living with joint pain from an injury or arthritis, don't let them tell you steroids, pain medications, and surgery are your only options. QC Kinetics uses regenerative treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Maybe you've been diagnosed with bone-on-bone arthritis and been told you need a replacement. Call QC Kinetics today for an alternative way to deal with the pain. These amazing protocols work with pain caused by injury as well, like a torn meniscus or rotator cuff. Call QC Kinetics now, 803.
All righty.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game. With Bill Gunter and Jim Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game. 1075 The Game.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. If you want to send in a question or you want to visit us on the Love Chevy phone lines as we get ready for good buddy Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com, who joins us on a weekly basis. Again, you can visit him on Twitter at VegasBEdwards is the way to do that. And Brian, I just saw the statistic pop up here. Starting tonight, there is live college or pro football on television for 27 consecutive days. This is the time of the year where every night you come home, maybe there's a little World Series action, maybe a few other things, NBA, NHL, but it's this time of the year, 27 consecutive days of some type of football, college or pro, starting today, taking us up to Thanksgiving. It's a good time of the year. It's that time. And so we get into a weekend that the last few weekends have been really, really fun. We've had some great games taking place. You have a few this weekend. Penn State, Ohio State certainly has a chance to be really good. We'll kind of see how a few others. You get LSU and Alabama. They're both off this weekend as they'll gear up for their big game. You do have this one here in Columbia, Missouri, and South Carolina. But it's still overall, it's not the monster weekend that we've had the last several weekends, but you've got a couple. One game that is typically a big-time game, but unfortunately not so much this year, but you do like it. The Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs, they're in Jacksonville for the world's largest cocktail party. I don't care what anybody says. I'm still going to continue to call it that. And it's a big spread. It's a big spread. The Gators are a 22.5-point underdog. Your thoughts?
Only beaten Florida by more than 22
twice since 1989. And if Billy Napier does anything good, it's cover as an underdog. 18 games as a head coach, obviously 4 years at UL Lafayette, and 2 underdog spots with Florida. He is 14-3-1 against the spread with 9 outright wins as an underdog. He's 2-0 this year with 1 outright win being against Utah, and then the cover at Tennessee in the 38-33 loss. Now, Georgia did cover that big spread by 14 last year. Florida actually out-yarded Georgia just by 1, 355-354, but it was a 3-zip game with less than 3 minutes left in the first half, and then Florida committed 3 turnovers in like a 5 or 6 play sequence there in the last 3 minutes of the first half, and it went from 3-zip to 24-zip, and it was basically game, set, match. But look, if Anthony Richardson plays great for Florida like he did against Utah, and with the exception of the red zone fumble against Tennessee, he played great. If he does that, I think Florida is going to really hang around and maybe even make it interesting, maybe perhaps even a 1-possession game late. But I made Georgia 16.5. I think this number is a little, a good bit too rich. I think all things, equal, Richardson doesn't play great, just maybe plays good, and Florida doesn't really cure its defensive problems. I think Georgia probably wins by 14-17, but I think Florida's going to have to play pretty bad to lose by more than 22. I mean, Georgia, look, they look good, and I know they put big numbers on Auburn and Vandy, but they really haven't looked like that dominant force since the South Carolina game in week 3. So I think Georgia wins by double digits, but I like Florida to cover.
Again, he's Brian Edwards joining us as he does each and every Thursday. He's going with the Gators there to cover the 22.5. Another game that he's a big fan of. Arkansas -3.5. Arkansas was off of that hot start. I think they got up to number 10. I think they got right to number 10, maybe number 9. And then the wheels have kind of fallen off. Had the oink against Texas A&M, and then didn't fare so well against Alabama. They go to Auburn, and I feel like we're on a weekly watch of Brian Harsin. Arkansas -3.5. Do you like that?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Harsin even, survived going into the open date. But look, Auburn has won 6 in a row over Arkansas, really dominated this rivalry. But it was a pretty even game last year in Fayetteville. Auburn was able to get a defensive touchdown that was the big swing in that game. But look, we all know that Arkansas got completely hosed by the officials on the Plains 2 years ago. Bo Nix clearly fumbled that ball that they had the inadvertent whistle, and they allowed it to actually be a spike and let them kick the game-winning field goal when it clearly should have been Arkansas's ball. But whatever the case, Arkansas righted the ship at BYU. It was a difficult spot, flying across country. They had to get on a plane for the 3rd time in 4 weeks. But KJ Jefferson was able to play after not being able to do so against Mississippi State. And he threw for 367 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Rocket Sanders ran for 175 and 2 touchdowns, just 15 attempts. So I think they're ready to end this 6-year run of frustration against Auburn, and I think they cover the short number. It's at 3.5. If you can buy the half point to the key number of 3 and they don't charge you more than -130 juice, you might want to do that, but I really don't think we're going to need it. I think Arkansas wins by at least a touchdown and possibly more.
One other thing to keep an eye on in terms of that game, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff. Auburn it should be it's a noon game. That puts it 11 a.m. in Auburn. I'm thinking correctly. Auburn's in Central, right? Are you with me on that? Yes,
correct.
Okay. So to your point, Arkansas, granted, coming over. I only say that. I know it's an 11 a.m. kickoff for Arkansas too, but you're talking about an Auburn team that, quite frankly, Brian, as you've kind of watched them, do you think they have anything left in the tank at this point? They are coming. The one caveat I'll give on that pick, minus the 3.5 for Arkansas, Auburn is coming off of a bye, but they've lost 3 straight. They really were blown out by Georgia 42-10, and Mississippi gave it to them pretty good. They gave up 48 in that game. But that early kick, those Auburn fans, the team might be in on Brian Harsin. The Auburn fans are completely out. That's not going to be your typical Auburn home field advantage.
No, I agree. And I think if Auburn does not come out strong and have some things go right early, they could mail it in. And look, Arkansas is coming off an open date as well. So that's a wash. Both teams have had 2 weeks to prepare, but I agree. It'll be a late arriving crowd. And if things don't go right early, they'll become disinterested. And I can see the team possibly becoming disinterested. So if Arkansas jumps out to a nice start, that'll be very, very key. I agree.
We'll come back to the South Carolina, Missouri game. Let's skip ahead to tonight. Washington State and Utah. Utah, number 14 in the country. That'll be a 10 o'clock game, FS1, if you want a little late night football. The Cougars plus the 7 against Utah. You got Washington State plus 7, and I like this with you. Washington State in Pullman has been pretty strong this year, losing to Oregon by just 3 and winning the rest of them.
Yeah, and they've led Oregon by 12 with less than 4 minutes left, and Bo Nix orchestrated a somewhat miraculous comeback. But like you said, they've been good in Pullman, 3-1, both straight up and against the spread. The only loss against Oregon when they had the big lead, the only non-cover when they were favored by 28 in the opener. If Utah's done anything poorly the last 2 years, it's play on the road. This year they're 1-2, both straight up and against the spread. In 3 road assignments, they lost outright at Florida, lost outright at UCLA, and since the start of last year, they've been a road favorite 8 times, and they're an abysmal 2-6 against the spread with 5 outright losses. So Washington State plus the 7 as a home dog. That's my play tonight.
Yeah, I like that. You just gave that road statistic. The only win, that Arizona State win, came, I believe, the week.
Was that the week before Herm got
Nope,
fired, or the
nope,
week after?
that was the
can't
week
remember.
after. That was the week after. He got fired after the, I believe it was Eastern Michigan debacle, where the video appeared to show him being fired on the field. So that was the only victory. And you're right, the 3-point loss to Florida to start the season.
Did it really, Gutter? I don't think I saw that. He really got fired on the field, but not by the AD.
Nobody's confirmed that, but there's a video out there where if you see him walking off the field, there's 2 administrators, one of them being the athletic director, waiting, and they kind of grab him and talk to him. And if you kind of read lips and body language, it looks like
I'll have
saying,
to look that up.
yeah, check that back out. It doesn't look like a conversation that was like, hey man, tough break, go get him on Monday. So anyway, but yeah, Washington State, I like that plus the 7 tonight. Both teams, by the way, Washington State and Utah, coming off a bye in that game. Let's go back. South Carolina, Missouri. Now, real quick, I'm not asking you to give a pick on the spread, but a lot of people see this. And your take, when you see a spread open at 5 or 6, depending on where you looked at, and you see it move down to 3.5 or 4, and which has happened this week. What is your general take on that? We've seen this before, but when you see a spread move a point or 2 in a situation like this, South Carolina's been hot. Missouri struggled a little bit on the road. What's your take?
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't looked in. I don't think there's any injuries on the South Carolina front other than Rucker. And you would probably know better than I. But look, I lean South Carolina, and now that I saw it down to 3.5, if I could buy the half point to 3, I may do that. But my main play, what I really like, is the over, which has been really good for South Carolina. So South Carolina, 6 of their 7 combined scores have been 49 or more. They've had 54, 60, 76, 55, 74, and 49. The only one lower than 49 was the 38 when Will Levis was injured, and Kentucky had to start a quarterback who had never taken a collegiate snap. Now, on the flip side, the unders cashed in 6 straight for Missouri. However, this is the lowest total of the season for the Tigers, and 4 of their 7 games have had combined scores higher than what we're dealing with here at 46.5 or 47. They had 48 combined against Georgia, 76 against La Tech, 52 against K-State, and 51 against Abilene Christian. So, ignore the 6 straight overs for Missouri, because 4 of their 7 games have actually gone over this total. And again, it's their lowest they've seen all year. So I'm not saying it's going to be a super high scoring game. Well, we've got a pretty low total here. And again, South Carolina has had 49 points or more in 6 of its 7 games. So I'll go over 46.5, and I'm okay if it's 47, as some books are.
He is Brian Edwards. Make sure you follow him on Twitter. Vegas B Edwards is the way to do that. You can check out VegasInsider.com and MajorWager.com. Make them part of your Saturday and Sunday morning reading. And speaking of Sunday, you do have an NFL play. The Titans travel to Houston, and you like the Titans in that one.
I do. They are 4-2, both straight up and against the spread overall. 2-1, both straight up and against the spread in 3 road games. And as long as they, don't let Dameon Pierce run all over them, they should be good in this spot. Tennessee has won 4 in a row since that 0-2 start. And, they've won one of them by 7 and one by 9 against Indy last week. And they're laying, 1.5 in this spot. So I'm going to go with the Titans. And by the way, they're 4th in the NFL in run defense, and Houston's offense has not had much going other than the rookie Dameon Pierce. So I think they're pretty one-dimensional, and it may be an ugly game. Last week against Tennessee wasn't very pretty, 19-10, but laying such a small number. And look, if your number's 1.5 and you can get like -120 or -125 on the money line, I'm not against going that route. I think Tennessee just, finds a way to get the W in Houston.
Real quick before I let you out, tonight's game should be a lot of fun. Very rarely do I get more excited about the NFL on a Thursday night than I do a college game. Lamar Jackson versus Tom Brady. The Buccaneers, how they lost to the Panthers, I think we will never figure out. It'll be one of the great mysteries of the universe for all of time. Just ridiculous. But this line opened at 3. It's down to 1.5. The Ravens are 4-3. The Bucs are 3-4. The over/under is up to 45.5, 46. Do you have a lean? Do you have a thought tonight? Because I feel like it's a sucker line. You see this. The Bucs are struggling. Brady's not playing awful. He's not getting a lot of help. Mike Evans is giving out autographs to referees at the end of games. The Ravens and Lamar Jackson are 4-3. They're an underdog tonight. And again, the over/under 45.5, 46. Do you have a lean? Do you have a feel on this?
Man, I really don't. Ravens have been favored most of the week, and then yesterday, it shifted to Tampa. So, I was ready to tell you that as a home underdog since 2014, Brady's 5-0 against the spread, but he's not a home underdog anymore. Tampa's just really struggling. You would think they'd get right at home. I have a hard time backing road teams on these short week games on a Thursday. So, reluctantly holding my nose with not much confidence. I'll say Tampa if I have to pick it. Maybe I'll end up going with Tampa, but it's tough, man. They have looked awful the last 2 games, but those were on the road. So, yeah, tough game. I would lean Tampa, but I don't like the game.
The only reason I would take Tampa is because I don't understand why they're favored even at home. So I'm with you on that. He is Brian Edwards. Again, follow him on Twitter. Vegas B Edwards is the way to do that. You can check out all his work, VegasInsider.com and MajorWager.com. Brian, we appreciate you joining us each and every week and look forward to 27 consecutive days of football, college, pro. We got plenty to pick from and look forward to hearing from you next week.
Thanks, brother. Have a great weekend.
Take care. It's Brian Edwards. Again, follow him on Twitter. Vegas B Edwards did pretty well last week. I was going back and looking at his picks from last week, and he hit, let's see here. He hit the South Carolina A&M over last week. He hit Oklahoma State plus the 7. He hit LSU on the money line. And I don't know, in the NFL, he had the Arizona Cardinals, and he had, it looks like I'm looking back, he had the Giants plus 3 at the Jags. I'll have to go back and look how he did in the NFL. He did miss Missouri minus 14 versus Vanderbilt last week, as Missouri only won 17-14, but a 3-1 week from him in college last week. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game's 15th anniversary rewind.
2010.
Alabama beats Texas 37-21 to win the national title in college football. The New Orleans Saints beat the Indy Colts 31-17 in the Super Bowl. Duke edges Butler to win the NCAA men's basketball championship. UConn beats Stanford to complete a perfect season. The South Carolina men's basketball team went 15-16. The women finished 14-14. The football team went 9-5 and won the SEC East, losing to number 2 Auburn in the SEC championship game. And the Gamecocks baseball team beat UCLA to win the national championship.
South Carolina wins the College World Series.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
Stylish office decor to turn my finished basement into a complete workspace solution.
Staples has you covered.
A desk that's all business, but not too businessy.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now at Staples, save 25% on all desks, storage and filing products, chair mats, lighting, decor, and desk accessories when you buy a chair. Explore solutions for your remote workspace at Staples. The working and learning store ends 10/29. In-store only. Exclusions apply.
It's hunting season, and Shooter's Choice in West Columbia has everything you possibly want and then some at great prices, sold to you by a staff that is friendly and knowledgeable. Shooter's Choice in West Columbia is the place for you. Shooter's Choice has all you need for dove and deer season. Check out their great selection of hunting rifles, ARs, and much more, plus top-end accessories to complement your purchase. Make this the best hunting season ever with Shooter's Choice. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Shooter's Choice.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we've seen how terrible accidents turn lives upside down, and we're proud to be the lawyers our clients depend on during their toughest moments. I'm Jason Reynolds. Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, I go to work, getting you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on. We have the experience and passion you need when you need it most.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 779-4000.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons: sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, "Best product I've ever used," and "Amazing, I love my Navage." Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
With approved credit, call 866-243-4623 for details. JT's Jeep Ram has the largest inventory around. When other dealers are charging thousands over, you save thousands at JT's and get 0.9% financing. Bumps or even craters in your credit, forget it. When other dealers say no, JT says yes, you're approved. Drive the 2023 Ram or Jeep of your dreams. Get 0.9% financing and let JT get you approved. JT's Jeep Ram Lexington, jtsjeep.com. Ram Power Days.
Hey, y'all. Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet. Quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon. Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you?
Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service. Here at First Palmetto, we have your best interest at heart and have the ability to get the job done. Call me today, 803-719-1005, or email me at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
It's good stuff, Jacob. Tell me more.
We are still seeing a competitive purchase market. Having a strong pre-qualification from a local bank goes a long way with a tight market. With housing supplies still being minimal, we're doing a lot of construction loans. If you're looking to buy land and build on it, or if you're looking to build on land you already have, we're a great resource for construction loans. Call us today to discuss how we can help you. 803-719-1005 or email at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
In times like these, you need an expert. Call the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005.
First Palmetto Bank is an equal housing lender, a member of FDIC, and all loans are subject to approval. My NMLS number is 198432.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Rolling along on a Thursday morning, 8:41. Big thank you to Brian Edwards for joining us there for that segment. You can catch that, his picks of the week. Mr. Ed Bird will get that up on the podcast later on this morning if you missed that. So a big thank you to him. Big thank you to Tony Annan again for joining us in the 7 o'clock hour. And now joining us, a little NASCAR. It's the final week of the, what am I calling this? The round of eight. Round of eight is what I should be saying. Final week of the round of 8 before we move on to the round of 4 championship series. Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president. And Kerry, we get to do this without Jen. It'll be a more serious discussion with a lot more factual information and less cutting up and making fun of people.
Well, I do want to tell you, she's already texted me earlier this morning, and hope her mom gets to feeling better. But she did tell me I should give you a hard time. So, I don't know what that means, but when she gets back, you can report that I behaved fairly well.
What it means is that Jen was up way too early this morning back home with her mom. We're certainly hoping she's doing well, and she'll be back here very, very soon. But let's talk about this. It's really an exciting weekend. Only one driver is currently qualified for the Final Four. That's Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, William Byron. Right now are rounding out the top 4, but you got Hamlin, Blaney, Christopher Bell, and Chase Briscoe all right there. You've got, I think what NASCAR set up here is what they're getting is what they were going for when they set up this playoff series.
Well, I think so, Bill. I mean, you want some drama and excitement at the end of the season. And I know there's some traditionalists out there that still like the old point system, but there were times when the championship was wrapped up with 1 or 2 races to go. And even back when the playoffs started several years ago, there were many times I went to Homestead, Miami, and all Jimmy Johnson had to do was finish like 18th or better, and he wrapped it up. So, yeah, you want some storylines, you want some drama, you want some intensity, and this is what sports and competition is all about. And like you said, the only one right now who is secure and safe and knows that he can run for a championship next week at Phoenix is Joey Logano. You don't know what's going to happen at Martinsville. It's a short track. It's a race that I've seen a lot of unpredictable things happen. So, those other drivers and teams probably have had some sleepless nights.
It is interesting. You look at this particular track, and we'll make our picks here in just a second. And clearly, you already have Jen's. Denny Hamlin is trying to become a 3-time winner. Chase Elliott has won here. Again, the Joey Logano, who is qualified for the championship 4, has won here. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, all trying to become 2-time winners. I guess where I'm going with this is, are there certain tracks, and Martinsville appears to be one of them, that it creates more parity and you see different winners as opposed to certain tracks where it just seems like 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3 guys seem to dominate?
I think so, for sure. I know back in the day, Jimmy Johnson used to own that track. I can't remember how many times he won, probably 8 or 9 times there at Martinsville. But I think since he's kind of stepped back from the sport, you've seen, Keselowski win. You've seen Logano win. You've seen Hamlin win. You've seen Truex win. You've seen William Byron win this past spring. So there has been a lot more opportunities for drivers to win at Martinsville. It's a long race. It's 500 miles. It's a short track, a lot of beating and banging. You better take care of your equipment. You better take care of your brakes because it's a half-mile track and you're on the brakes most of the time. And so I do think that there's a lot more opportunity now for a bigger field of drivers to win up there.
As we round out, I'm not being funny. I'm being dead serious. Obviously, with our points system, Reggie wins again. Kyle Larson, he 120 points this year. Jen's at 100. I had Reddick. He was last basically. I'm 2 points ahead of you. But as we round out the final two races, it feels like what you've seen with these next gen cars has created more parity in NASCAR this year. Do you agree with that? Would you call that a fair statement?
Oh, no doubt about it, Bill. The next gen car came on board obviously at the Daytona 500. We had a surprise winner there in Austin Cindric, and we've had 19 different race winners, and I think that's tied for the most all time. We've had 5 first-time winners, and so it's been one of those seasons where you couldn't say, well, this guy's going to run off 3 or 4 in a row and kind of dominate, kind of like Kyle Larson did last year, Chase Elliott did a couple years ago. I mean, this is a season that I don't think ever since I've been in NASCAR, I haven't seen a season like this. And I think it's been refreshing. You've seen teams like Trackhouse Racing with Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain, picking up wins. You've seen Colleague Racing with Allmendinger contend for wins. And, even Eric Jones for Petty won at our place. So I just think it's been a season where this new car, it's taken people a while to figure it out. And I still think there's a lot of teams that haven't quite got their arms around it. So I've enjoyed the racing that this new car brings. And I think next year is even going to be better because they're going to make some adjustments. NASCAR's learned a lot about this new car, particularly from a safety standpoint. And the new car will be even bigger and better than it was this year in 2023.
Yeah, I'm not being funny this morning. I'm being serious. Normally, I do a little research, and then I like to go with the top 3 or 4, depending on who y'all pick. After there's somebody that stands out, I'll go that direction. I've tried to go differently recently, go outside of my comfort zone because just picking the top 3 or 4 every week, picking the favorites has not really worked in my favor this year. Obviously, all right, let's make some picks. You're first, and you've got Jen's pick. So for some odd reason, I'm giving you the first 2 picks of the draft, I feel like. But what have you got here for your pick this week in Martinsville?
Well, I'm going to go with a guy that hasn't won all year. He's come close. He's won at Martinsville before, Martin Truex Jr. I know he's not in the playoffs, but let's make him the 20th winner of this season. And so I'll go with him.
Okay. All right. Martin Truex Jr. there. That's not a bad pick. Seems fair. Like I said, he's won before. Where are you going with your next one? Or it's not yours. This isn't like the NBA draft where you get multiple. Who is Jen taking that she sent you this morning?
Oh, boy. Let me look at my text real quick. Hang on a second.
Okay. Live radio at its finest. It's fantastic. We need some elevator music as Kerry pulls up.
Still there?
I'm here. All right, what do we got? You there? Oh, we're asking him to read it.
Still there?
Yeah, we're still here. We're asking Kerry Tharp to read a text and give us the pick. You got it? We're still here? Nope. All right, there goes Kerry. That was too much. That was asking too much of that. And with that in mind, Jen Jensen loses her pick with Segway. She should have sent it to myself or Ed Bird. So that's unfortunate for Jen. That's a very unfortunate break that she'll have to deal with. Should have been sent to me. I'm going Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney. And put it down officially. I am taking Ryan Blaney. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Here's what's coming up
on the next Extra Point.
A big, strong dude was able to just kind of run through some tackles there on the edge. And then I thought he had a weird sort of running style to him, and I didn't realize it.
The Extra Point. 9 a.m. to noon on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5.
Oh, goodness. Jets disqualified. Yeah. You know what? If you're going to be funny and not send me your pick since I'm doing the show, that's the risk you run. That is the risk you run. It's unfortunate. Tell him we'll have about a minute to give his pick and we'll close it out.
Drive the Ram, Charger, or Challenger of your dreams. Get 1.9% financing and let JT get you through. Dodge Money on Greystone, JTSdodge.com.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, count on the experts at Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine to take care of you again. Our highly specialized physicians offer comprehensive care across 5 convenient locations throughout the Midlands. Whether you're an athlete looking to return to your sport after injury or someone who needs help for knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, or foot pain, we're here for you. Our expert team can get you better sooner. Visit lexmed.com/ortho to learn more.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, or has a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial.
What was I about to do? That's terrible.
Warehouse or industrial facility, you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Mid-State has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them Mid-State friends.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com. Wash your hands, brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean?
No, that's what happens. That's what happens. Jen is now picking third. I'm sorry. When the commissioner's gone, you go to the backup commissioner. You go to the backup commissioner. I have made an executive decision. Oh, goodness. Even when you do everything right.
Call me when your family is faced with any serious injury or death. And I'm Stephen Sanders. When you heard work, I'll go to work. You need medical treatment and workers' compensation you need. You have the experience and passion you need. When you need it, send the votes. 779-4000. Broadcasting live from the Heritage Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Heritage Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter.
professional radio at its absolute finest, and a man who knows professionalism better than anybody else. Kerry Tharp, where are we going with Jen's pick?
I think it was her top pick. I don't know if that's still on the board or not, but she liked Chase Elliott.
It is. I went Ryan Blaney. Thank you for calling back in to make sure we got that in for Jen.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, y'all. Thank you.
Take care. Kerry Tharp, Darlington Raceway president. What a way to end the program. About right for this episode. About right for this program. We will return to do it all again tomorrow. Patrick Perrette will be joining us. Chris Deering will be joining us. Jen's still out with her mom. Ed Bird will still be in with us tomorrow. But if you want to wish Jen some good thoughts, text with her this morning. Keep her and her mom in your prayers. Mom's doing much better, but certainly if you want to send a thought to her, at Jen Jensen Morse is the way to do that. You can do that on Twitter. Happy Thursday to everybody. We will be back to do it all again tomorrow. Great job by Ed Bird behind the glass. Y'all have a great day. It's been the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover.
There we go. All right. Yep. Y'all have a great day. Yep. It worked out. Chase Elliott. Y'all take care. Have a great day.